The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
The top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
Welcome, everybody, to another Industry of Comics episode number 76. This Tuesday, like every Tuesday here on Beyond Wednesdays, I'm joined by my compadres, Jesse, Dennis, and Emmet. Gentlemen, we had a crazy week last week. We had our regular show, which was excellent. It was a lot of fun. And then we had a crazy special on Thursday night with Darren Davis from TidalWave Productions. And it was wild.
Scorcher.
Holy cow. What is going on? Everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to we have a great show tonight, you guys. We have Nick Coglianese from Key Collector joining us. He'll be joining us in a little bit, but we cannot.
Brian, let me just say, you say Nick's name better than anybody else, and everyone else in the industry's name completely fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I try, man. I try.
I'm like, Mark, who?
I'm like, shit, I haven't even heard Nick say his own name.
Yeah, I know.
So he could tell me if I'm saying it right when he gets here. But all right. So, we haven't really talked much about the interview and how that show went and the aftermath. There has been so many people that have reached out. I know to me, I imagine to you guys as well, to talk about it. The phone calls and conversations were long. They were definitely long and very interesting. I will say there's a couple of things I want to talk about with you guys. Number one being the main thing that everybody else wanted to talk to me about, and that is this 20% rule. This 20% rule that we kept on hearing about, and that me being gullible as all get out, just believing it. And I don't know if I can believe that anymore. I have not seen any proof or any type of black and white out there. And if I'm missing it, please send it to us, you guys. Please put it in the chats below. But I have not seen any proof or black and white about this 20% rule. And it was a big part of his argument.
Yeah. The funny thing is I'd always heard parody was 30%. So
right.
He's not doing parody though. He's talking about free speech or something like that.
Homage. I think he's kind of going under the homage way too much. I did have one positive takeaway, which was when I said, look, when you homage a cover, just make sure your artists do the after whoever they're homaging. That's been a tried and true method of the comic industry and art respect for decades, 50 years minimum. And, I think he took that one to heart at the end, but I just don't believe he understood what I think Emmet nailed the entire conversation in one quote. Yeah, just because it's legal, does it mean it's right? Right. And Emmet, bravo, because that was what summed up the whole thing to me.
Yeah. So I think he's also being a little taken advantage of retailers who need to make margin they can't make on regular comics. And they're having a hard time getting the good silver and bronze to get that margin. So they need a book that sells for $40 that they pay $2.50 for. And you just can't survive forever. That's why we've all pivoted into other items, experience, like, man, Jesse always talks about, because the experience of the comic shop, it has value.
Yes.
People pay more for that. And that's where we find our margins and, volume. The more people you can get across your door. The thing is, I think that this burns people out, this $40, this cover you can't get anywhere else. Who cares?
Yeah.
Look at the inside of the book.
Yeah, I just bought 3 short boxes, all from online sellers who don't do back issues. They only do comics moving forward. And you know, when you're looking at what they're getting for these books, I mean, it's 90% less than cover. And then when we go to sell it, we're able to, you know, maybe get $5, $7 for it, because it's timestamp product. It's only relevant that week when it comes out. Does it turn the needle anywhere? And then it's the following week. And then the following week, something else comes out. At the end of the day, you got to keep in mind a good portion of people that do exclusives, especially online, that are online retailers, don't deal in the silver, bronze, golden age at all.
Right.
So their options are very limited. And the fact that a lot of publishers aren't accepting a lot of retailers right now to do exclusives other than the Darren Davises and those small press companies that are accepting them. So I think there's a lot of going on here. I will tell you, a lot of conversation, a lot of great emails, a lot of texts. The one thing I am telling people in return, get your voice out there. If you do it on your own Facebook, that's fine. I know Sean Hudaku did a long piece about the show, but get out there. It's okay to talk about whether it's positive or negative about what we talked about. Get your voice heard.
Amen. Amen. Something that was very interesting that popped up on Bleeding Cool recently that has a lot to do with what we were talking about. And this goes to show you, if you guys don't think that the rumors are true, that we're hearing about Warner Brothers and Disney knowing about what's going on, and you guys are crazy. And here's an example of that. Now, this is the flip. This is Nintendo going after Warner Brothers and Disney because they were using the Pokemon symbol. This is the Deadpool Batman #1 Scotty Young cover, which originally had a you know, a gotta catch 'em all Pokemon thing in there. And Nintendo reached out.
I think they honestly thought that was just Deadpool's logo sideways, but Pokemon was like, oh, that's a Pokeball, assholes.
It's 100% a Pokemon.
Yep. So it says, you know, Scotty Young, he posted that the previously released version of this.
The change makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It does. So the Pokemon signal was too much for someone either at Marvel or at DC Comics, and so the cover had to be amended. Now, whether it's somebody just covering their ass or what, this shows that they are paying attention. All right, they don't want to get sued. You know, these are the big dogs. Now the question is what Darren brought up, which is very interesting. At the end, he made the comment, "Oh, who here has been sued?" Bro, you just put a spotlight target on you if you ever have in your life, saying that, hey, I've never been sued. If I was a DC or a Warner Brothers or a Disney lawyer, I'd be like, move them up. We gotta go.
I'll tell you, there's one thing that I've realized in all the years I've done this. There is karma and there is Murphy's Law, and you don't want to tangle with any of them, and you definitely don't ever want to call down that thunder.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
100%.
Especially when you're skirting that close to the sun.
Well, the other crazy thing to me, and I brought this up on Saturday Night Drama Alert because it had just popped out, but the fact that literally that night, we talked about the Punisher book and listen, it was, again, synchronicity, you guys. I call it out every time. Darren brings up that, you know, yeah, it wasn't a good thing to have a Charlie Cox biography and have John Bernthal as Punisher on the cover. So we just did a John Bernthal book. And I bring up, and I was like, I can't believe you just segooed for me. I have this book that just came out this week where you can literally see the Disney stamps if you scroll in tight enough on that picture.
Oh.
And then the next day, talk about playing with the horns. You know what I mean? What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is one of the most famous pictures in NBA history, and it's You can go search. I'll go check this out. Google Lens. All right. Let's go like this.
Well, and I said it in the chat on Saturday. Yeah, but Brian, getting rid of the B on a 5-letter word is changing it 20%. So that's the Chicago Ulls, not the Chicago Bulls.
I mean, it's ripped off a ton. They rip it off a ton, but that still doesn't mean this is like one of the most famous pictures in the game. And look at all these different rip-offs of it. My question is, does the original guy have the rights to this that took the photo? Does the NBA own the rights to it? And I'll bet you what, I'll tell you what, I bet you that TidalWave don't know.
The thing is you have to care. And if you don't care, you just do it. And you hope you get away with it. And you hope you move on to the next thing that you're not going to care about. Eventually you're going to come up against somebody who, I mean, and I'll just say it, Kobe Bryant's dead. Every image that you tread on Kobe's grave you're going to piss somebody off. You know, maybe Michael doesn't. I mean, I know Michael has hardcore fans, but that's going to be the audience for this, and they might just buy it. But somebody's going to take offense when you do this to Kobe. Because, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I still think, and obviously that's a Sports Illustrated cover too. So Sports Illustrated might be involved in it. But I still think at some point, if we don't see the conventions jump into this, that's where it needs to start. The conventions have to start holding feet to the fire and understand how to protect their brands. This isn't protecting your brand. This is just protecting your pocketbook and having, one more publisher put books on their table. Your job is to protect the person buying the ticket.
Yeah.
And make sure that person buying the ticket is buying legal stuff within the realms of that convention. And I think that's where it needs to start on items like this. I would be very interested. What convention was this for?
I don't know if it says. I think maybe Fan Expo.
I think it's Chicago. It's Fan
Expo.
Expo Chicago.
Yeah.
Expo it would Chicago. Be very interesting if they put their logo on it. If they put Fan Expo's logo on it, which that's the endorsement there. So yeah, we are in a world where, in the industry, on this show, we can talk about this and show both the negative and if there is any positive impact about it. But most of the time we're just doing our business, right? And trying to get that rent paid and get our employees paid. So stuff like this, it's very tough to follow. So imagine a convention or a publisher trying to follow this.
Well, Jesse, you and I have been on the circuit for decades. Emmet, I don't know how long, 20, 30 years ago, if you were out in the convention circuit, but every convention, you went to Chiller back in the day, right?
Yeah, you go to Chiller.
Right.
And,
what was at every Chiller? Bootleg VHS.
VHS.
And then when they figured out how to burn on DVD, they started selling bootleg DVDs.
Yeah.
And it all came down to Michigan. Michigan was the place where they decided the FBI and the Motion Picture Association of America and the local police came in on dealer setup day, walked around, identified all the bootleggers, came in first thing the next morning, show's about to open, and 19 pairs of handcuffs went on 19 dealers, and a police officer was sitting at that booth, and they just brought around a wagon, loaded up everything, bootleg or not, threw it on a cart, threw it in the back of a truck, took it off and destroyed everything and processed and booked everyone. And you can clock that with a stopwatch. Bootlegging ended at comic book conventions for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so it is, that time where we start to hold people to the fire. And it only takes one person for this to happen, to whatever publisher it is, to make people actually start to hesitate. Right now, no one's hesitating. They're just saying, do what they do. Darren just happens to be in the spotlight. But this is for all those people that technically do it. We're just not focused on Darren's fame project.
Well, it started 71 episodes ago, episode 5. That's when we had Sean and the sketchbook guy on.
Yep.
And, you know, that was a controversial episode.
Yep. It was a good episode, though.
Yeah, but it snowballed into Sean by himself, then bringing Darren in, and then to this, you know, and then, you know, Ant's episode, and then this one. Right. And our logic has been pretty consistent. I'm the bad guy. I'll take the bad guy spot. But the rest of you are like, don't you want to be more legitimate?
Yep.
And I think that's the question that we're asking a lot of these people who kind of skirt around. Wouldn't you like to be more legitimate in this industry?
Yep. No, people nowadays feel that money is legitimacy. So if I'm making the most money, I'm the most legitimate.
Scarface.
There was a couple of things that I didn't get a chance to ask. You know, I got to admit, you guys, as soon as the show started, the whole thing got flipped on its end, right?
Because after you told us what, like, oh, he kind of like, you gave us a little preface of what you spoke about on the phone, and then he comes right out of the barrel saying we're all wrong. He's within his legal right.
Yeah, very defensive.
I was like, holy shit.
And, you know, I see some questions in the chat. One asking, like, you know, who's to blame, Darren or the comic book shop that pays to create the covers, right? And they're both to blame. Both.
Yeah.
The other thing.
No, technically, the editor of the publisher would be the one to blame.
Libel.
Which just happens to be the editor of that company. He's the one that approves everything at the end. So you can send all the fake stuff you want. That doesn't make it wrong on your end. What makes it wrong is when the editor approves it. And it's not I didn't know. That's why you're the editor, to make sure that this does not happen. So I would say, in my opinion, that the buck stops at the editor. He is the one in every single company that is responsible in the end for that comic book release.
Do you think they have an editor over there?
He claimed he was the editor. He was the one that was making the final decision. So final decisions makes you the editor of the company. I don't think it's the owner of the company that approves these. I believe it's someone who is entitled to protect the brand. And in this case, it is Darren at the end. He has now 3 advisors who are then do all the legwork. Hopefully none of this even gets to Darren anymore going in the future.
So,
well, the other thing is he brought in 3, like he said, I have 3 people that are going to look at everything. Are those 3 people that are making money on getting covers done?
Yeah,
those aren't the people that you want deciding whether it's worth.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of conflict of interest there. At the end, he needs to be able to look through that as the editor, as the business owner, and make sure that when it does happen, that he makes the pivoting moves to eliminate that in the future.
So one of the things that has been brought up a lot in the chat tonight was one of the artists that we called out. Now, listen, I don't want to call out any artists, but you know, we put up that image of the Alex Ross crypto thing that Comic Tom did, and you know, again, I don't put any type of fault in Comic Tom right now, because you know he showed us that he's been above board on everything else. Comic Tom was very adamant to me that, you know, Rudy is a painter, and that he paints all his stuff. And a matter of fact, he sent me an image of the painting. This is, you know, I guess the painting that he did for that cover. So, you know, that I just want to throw that out there because it's a big thing in the chat right now. People talking about this artist and all this stuff, and they were asking, you know, I heard he's a painter. Yes, according to everybody that I've talked to that has worked with him, he is a painter and that he does paint these. I don't know that for a fact because I'm talking to the people. I've never talked to Rudy himself. I've never met Rudy. I believe he's in another country. So that's not something I can say for fact, but the people that I've talked
The
to
other thing is
said
you can transfer the drawing
light boxing, all kinds of stuff. Yes.
all kinds of stuff. And if you're
Yeah.
working off somebody else's work, it's still, I mean, okay, maybe it's an homage. I mean, it's just, there's like some of it's just kept too similar.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. So
I mean, one of the changes is they took the dog had the Superman symbol on the cape, and now it doesn't.
yeah.
Right. Well, I think one of the things that you also want to remember in this case of the world of exclusives, the publisher only part in the game is to get paid. They don't care if it sells out. I know someone says, do people buy these? They don't technically
matter.
care once it leaves
Not the
Yeah.
and they've
publisher.
been paid for.
Well, clearly some retailer out there didn't sell him and did not pay him. And then that's why and I kept trying to tell him it's more than just 2 retailers, because I had at least 5 different retailers. And even if 2 of those were the ones that were
But we know
trashing
they
him in
weren't.
Dallas, huh?
We know they weren't, right?
We know they weren't, but hey, Emmet, you were with me for 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just 2 guys. It's we had 5 at San Diego, and that's if you could find us at San Diego. Finding us at San Diego is a hard enough thing. It's got to be dozens of retailers who think this is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, those retailers won't do this. Those creators won't do this. The consumer won't buy it. And as long as that's happening, I think there's a caveat here that we have to look at. We can control on our ends how successful it is with our brands.
Yep.
If other brands choose to do it, then they're probably the ones that don't even think about it.
Listen, I'm not a short money guy. I think
Yep.
this whole game is short money, and it's
Yep.
a lot of work, even if the margin is really good, for something that's going to burn out.
Yep.
Either you're going to have enough losers where you can't afford to continue to do them, or
And I'll comment on something in the chat, because Emmet, you were there with me. We were walking around, and one of my favorite artists is Greg Horn. He did a variant for me through Marvel 10 years ago. And I love Greg. Greg and I have had lots of long conversations. We all love Greg.
Yep.
Emmet and I were talking to Greg. Oh, that's great. Oh, this is cool. He goes, oh, man, you got to check out my Captain Jack Sparrow. And we're just like, Marvel and Disney aren't doing a Pirates of the Caribbean comic. All right. And we both just homered ourselves right into the bushes on that. All right, Greg,
have a nice night.
have a great show.
Yeah, make a lot of money.
And we love Greg.
Yeah.
And with that, I just was like, look, I don't have the time to talk to Greg about this. Greg is very proud of us, but he didn't say, hey, you got to check out my Johnny Depp fame book where I drew a pirate character. He said, you've got to check out my Captain Jack. Every time Darren would go on one of his, rants, he would always slip into what the actual thing was. Well, I didn't have a problem with the Dazzler. You got to check out my, and it was just like, you're calling out the IP that you're stealing, which proves that it's not 20% different. You're stealing the IP.
That was my thing. It's one thing if it's 20% different, and I can look at it and go, oh, it's supposed to be him, but it's not really him.
Right.
When I look at it and go, is the belt a quarter of an inch on the Doom? Is the belt like a quarter of an inch bigger?
Yeah.
Or,
And that's where they get away
Yeah.
with this thing about this 20% off thing.
which I don't even think is.
How do you here's the thing. If this is true, I understand maybe like nowadays you can scan a picture and then have AI tell you how much percentage different it is. But up until about 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. You couldn't do that. So
Right.
that doesn't make any sense to me. And here's the thing. There's a lot of people that I respect, just as friends. Shout out to Davis Ryder. Davis Ryder, called me and talked to me about some of this stuff. And, Davis Ryder has been in the art game for a long time. He's very well, versed on how the art world works, and especially in the clothing industry and stuff. And you know, he talked about this too. Like, so, you know, we all believe this, but is it true? That's the question I have. You know, we all hear this. And a lot of us believe this because it's what everybody else believes, but I can't find any information on it.
I'll go one step further. We've had Marat Michaels on here several times. And other than his Wi-Fi, we love him to death. I'm a Wi-Fi snob. What can I say? But do you poos are kind of that line. But the fact that poo is poo and it's public domain, and you put a Deadpool costume on it, nobody looks at do you poo and says, is that Ryan Reynolds in a costume with a poo costume on over his? No. You know that the poo is the difference. And that's not skirting the line. That's, you know, it's back to that cosplay.
That's very parody.
Exactly. And that's the line. If they put an ET costume on Steven Spielberg, then we would obviously see, oh, that's Steven Spielberg wearing an ET costume. Yeah. Totally not ET. But when your entire art is just ET, and people think it's an ET comic book and not a Steven Spielberg presents whatever, you know, or Steven Spielberg unauthorized biography, that's where the line is.
Well, I think his regular covers don't skirt the line at all.
No.
I think his regular covers are fine.
Be proud of those. There is, and I feel bad that he bought all those little golden books to prove a point. And it's like, we don't have little golden book on our show tonight, Darren. We have you.
But I also kind of think Golden Books has the license for all that.
There's a weird, we didn't get time to get into it, but he kept saying, well, this is made by Random House. Well, yeah, Random House has the exclusive license to publish all of Marvel comics and Disney comic books.
In book form.
You don't think that they would have a little problem with that if there wasn't a little quid pro quo? None of us don't know that there isn't a quid pro quo.
Or a license.
Or a license.
Exactly. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when someone comes on any talk show, not just this talk show, we're always saying, okay, what are you trying to accomplish, both for your brand, yourself? And I think there is an essence that he truly believes everything he has said. And I don't think he is a person, a business owner that is going to listen to anything other than what's next. And that's how I perceive it.
Yeah. All right. Let's flip stories real quick. This I want to hit on a little bit of the Diamond news. This was a very interesting article. Diamond Comics was losing $1.3 million a week this April alone.
I don't even know how you do that.
Well, it's very simple. You don't fill out your forms for the bankruptcy. Run your monthlies.
Right. But here, can I make one more? And this is just kind of, you know, and I'm not trying to bring up a political topic, but I had no idea Stephen Colbert was losing $40 million a year. Diamond was losing more than Stephen Colbert.
Yeah. The highest rated late night show is losing $40 million a year.
Yeah. After 20 million, you would think you would like call uncle and figure out a way to restructure.
Crazy because the company went out and bought South Park for $1.5 billion.
Well, we're not getting political on this one, Emmet.
So, you know, again, this is, I think you really have to say, why did the lawyer representing Diamond not realize they filed the wrong chapter?
Yeah.
This should have been a Chapter 7.
Yep.
Done, out of Dodge. We are done. Instead, this is then go farther than it's going to have to go. They are going to seek damages from other people. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. We're kind of seeing it trickle out about some of the previous people with Diamond, and we will see where this goes. But at some point, this is just April.
Yeah.
We still got May. up to May 15th, right?
Yeah.
If you were a comic book shop that is still open that owes Diamond a ton of money, close and reopen under another name.
Yeah. Hey, that's the American way, right?
Sell it to your wife for $1.
Yeah.
No, because then she's on the hook for it. Just close it. Zero.
Perfect.
Yeah, zero. Yeah. They could have done so much stuff at that point. Now this is just going to get even further down the road.
Oh yeah,
so
it's gonna get so ugly.
yeah, I think who is it in the dip? Is it Chase that's in the dip? I forgot who the
No, JP Morgan.
JP Morgan. Yeah, JP Morgan is in the dip. And listen, once JP Morgan gets all their stuff, I don't know what's left.
Oh, there isn't.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing is we're talking about it at San Diego, and we're trying to get people to give us some numbers. And Emmet and I estimated that they had to have collected from January 12th to May 15th. They had to have collected close to $40 million from retailers. Just the average weekly bills that were still coming in. And when you start seeing that, $250,000 for these bottom tier publishers was owed, and then you start seeing the amounts that Marvel and DC and Image probably accrued until they cut off Diamond. Where did that 40 million go? That was just thrown. They were losing on top of the 40 million. So they were probably losing more than that. And this 1.5 was the overage that they were losing.
Maybe the stores that hadn't paid still didn't pay. Maybe they still.
No, remember
that would.
Maybe that's 1.3 million. That's where it's from.
No, Emmet. Remember we started hearing reports that retailers were like, "Hey, I couldn't get my box this week."
Oh yeah.
That was because they already owed
We're gonna
money.
stop doing new books. That wasn't
Right.
all of them though. There had to be a lot more that were.
I know, but there you got to figure there was you were one of them. You didn't want to leave Diamond. You wanted to stay with Diamond because it was one ordering. Until you couldn't. Right.
Until I couldn't get DC, and then I couldn't get Marvel.
And then you look at Nick, and Nick is like, hey, I got to stay with Diamond until the wheels fall off. And then they accrued the $500,000 that is owed to Nikki, and it's all of these numbers add up. And, we were naive in thinking it was just as simple as Diamond owes 33 million, retailers owe or 39 million, retailers owe 33 million. Just figure out a way to get the two of these guys to pay each other off. And then, 50 million is into the works. That will pay everybody off and make everything fixed. But all this protracted legal bullshit just is going to eat all that 50 million up, and no one's going to get anything left.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I would want to see the books on how it's broken down. Is it broken down by Diamond? Is it broken down by Overstreet? Is it broken down by their Hakes? Is it, or are we just talking about Diamond itself, Diamond the distributor, $1.3 million a week?
I got to send you one here real quick. Hold on. Because
still running auctions?
There's a situation that Hakes is still, so I can't tell you who I talked to, but I talked to one of my guys at Hakes. Hakes is actually running on all the cylinders. They actually had to renegotiate their UPS deal because their UPS deal was tied to Diamond's UPS deal. So they had to go in and renegotiate all their UPS deals away from Diamond. And they were able to show, hey, this is what we do. This is what, we should get at least this discount, if not that. And they were able to get somewhere in between. So Hakes is actually doing very good by themselves.
For who?
For Hakes.
But does Universal own them? Who
nope.
owns them?
Nope. They were separated off prior to that.
They were spun out?
Yep.
They were spun out back between July and November.
Oh, okay.
Well, they could.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think, every week more stuff comes out, and we will see how this ends in the end. At some point, Sparkle Universal needs to hit the pavement and move forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that the one you just showed? The one I just sent you?
No. Are you talking about the competing lawsuits one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me bring that up here, because that's pretty interesting too.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring that up because, Brian and I hung out quite a lot at the previous San Diego, and the same with Jesse. Jesse was mostly running around though. We were trying to figure out why Diamond threw away the entire retailer variant market that they had and were hand selling variants to the consumer rather than sell them to the retailers at their perceived cost and letting the retailers set the market. And in fact, actually, I think they were, and they quote you in here, or they quote our show in here. They were hand selling these books at $20, $30, $40 a piece, which was never set by Diamond, but they decided to determine that. Well, it turns out Diamond was actually in trouble back in July when San Diego was going on. That's where it started.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
and keep in mind, Diamond is a distributor. They're not a retailer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very interesting when I saw people from Diamond selling stuff to the consumer, which I don't think that is allowed at any way, shape, or form. But again, no one was, rocking the boat at that time.
Yeah, I didn't care. I just thought it was weird. And I was like, okay, well, this is a thing that's never happened before. And then I brought that up early on in January, February. Like, hey, remember back at San Diego when Diamond was selling exclusives? Well, apparently this is why they had to make that cash. They had to make that bank because they were going down fast.
Yeah, I would be very interested in the process before they became in the need. What were they doing before they needed to do bankruptcy to, in any way, shape, or form, survive this? And what was that game plan? Or did they have too many people in those head positions that just were not willing to look outside the box?
I think as long as they were getting paid, they didn't care.
Right.
This was an interesting article as well. This was put out on the 8th, last Friday. And very interesting to bring up Steve Geppi at this point, right? A lot of us are wondering what's going on with Steve. And, there's a lot of people out there that, know, but, had a respect for him, are keeping that kind of quiet, which I understand. But I think Steve probably... And you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong here, because I don't know. I don't know the Geppis at all. I've never met them, but it sounds like Steve may have kind of backed off of this a while ago, and stepped away from day-to-day operations a while ago.
No, that was true.
Yeah.
So as early as when did he get the equilibrium thing, Jesse? Was that 2015, 2016?
Yeah, that was probably to Vertigo, you mean?
The Vertigo, yeah.
2016. 2015, yeah.
So I saw him in 16, and he was just starting to talk about it. And 15 is when he gave that really awesome speech at the C2E2 about back issues, etc. 16, he was still trying to get that thing off the ground. 17, I had my heart attack. I came back to the next retailer summit, and Steve and I were like two invalids just sitting off to the side in the bar, not drinking. We were both just kind of like, oh yeah, you got the Vertigo thing? Okay, yeah, well, I got the heart attack thing. Right. Let's just sit here and talk bullshit, and it was good. But he's never recovered from that.
Right.
He was more of a figurehead trying to rally the troops at that point.
Yeah, and I think he's got a lot of plausible deniability in this right now.
Yeah.
And so I think, if you get into the legal forms of Diamond and then going after the actual owner, that would be quite a challenge. But That's my, why this article came out. Who knows? And we'll see what happens.
Do you really think that if Steve was at the helm the whole time, that there would be $33 million in back payments?
Let me put it this way. And I'm just going to use a crazy analogy that has no bearing on anything whatsoever. But if Steve was like Michael Corleone sitting in the chair and people were coming up, a lot of people would be paying their bills.
Yep.
Here's the thing. So for those of you guys that don't know,
plucking it out of nowhere.
Yeah, what we're talking about, the article kind of makes some interesting points. It says that basically there is a consignment group that they're saying is going to be pursuing Geppi because he still owns a bunch of assets, and that there's not enough to cover all the bankruptcy loans and everything, from JP Morgan, that they're going to go after Steve for some of the other groups like Rosebud Entertainment, Renegade Games, and some of the other things, which, I remember, I think I called Jesse when I first saw this, and I go, it feels like they're like holding him hostage. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah. And this is just a tactic that is used. And so I think there's going to be like I said, plausible deniability. There's a lot of protections in these companies that weren't involved in the lawsuit, in the bankruptcy. So we shall see. Again, I think what happens is when you look at Bleeding Cool's list on how it continues to get longer is simply amazing.
Well, I'll go one step further, Jesse. I think there's a lot of people who, and like I said, I'm in with you on this, Jesse. I think Steve stepped away a long time ago. He was the captain of the Titanic, taking a nap while he let somebody else steer the ship into the iceberg.
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of people in this industry, and I heard it at San Diego, who want to blame Steve because they got into this business because of Steve. They feel that Steve and Diamond are inseparable. The land and the king are one. And I think that some of these people are like, you know what? Fuck these Sparkle Pop people. I want Geppi to pay for this. I think Geppi needs to pay for it. How dare he break off all these other companies and go do his own life somewhere else?
Yeah.
He has to go down with this ship.
Right. And I think that's a generational thing. I think if people were with Diamond pre-2015, who have a personal relationship with him, post 2016, I can tell you probably no one knows who Steve Geppi is.
Right.
And so I think that is a generational thing. And it is what it is. It's a shame that we're still talking about Diamond in an industry that has to move forward and not look backwards.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. What else is going on? Anything interesting that you guys saw last week?
I'm very interested in this Labubu theft. How does someone in this day and age have $7,000 in Labubu in your store unless you completely suck at selling gold for free?
Do you know why I never have Pokemon Stole? Because I don't have any Pokemon.
Right.
I can't keep it in stock.
To Los Angeles now, where masked thieves stole $7,000 worth of Labubu dolls, and now the store is releasing security footage showing the heist happening. The suspects rolled up in a stolen Toyota Tacoma, and you can see them here ransacking the store. The store says their entire inventory of the popular collectible dolls was stolen, and their store was trashed. Police have found the getaway car, but the suspects and the dolls are nowhere to be found as yet.
Wow.
So I'll tell you, one of the reasons that you could still have $7,000 worth of Labubus in your store is if you have set your price so high. My daughter picked up her Labubus from Pop Mart vending machines in Japan for $15 US because they were 25,000 yen. That was $15 US. She thought, oh, this is the best deal ever. She was like, I should have bought both of those. Let's go back. And the other one was gone. But here in America, by the time we got back, the $25 Labubus that you could buy here, they were gone. Then it became $40. Then Pop Mart realized, oh, well, we'll start selling them for $60 wholesale. That sets the price at $80 to $100. Well, if you're sitting on $100 a piece Labubus, that's 70 Labubus.
That's nothing in stock.
That's nothing. That's 10 cases, 11 cases. But I think the inflation had just gotten high enough that you weren't selling the volume anymore. You were selling a higher end collectible, which then, back to last week's episode, it makes you a target.
Right. Yeah. I do like the lady reporting that they reported $7,000 and they left the store messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you see,
Attention,
Brian, did you see the other thing though?
Sorry.
Because the police busted a ring of Labubu thieves selling them. And they caught $30,000 worth of Labubus at the guys fencing them.
Wow.
Another thing I want to talk about is this. Clownfish TV had a video where they talked about this ICV2 article about Funko losing $41 million in a brutal quarter. And
a quarter.
Yes. And this sent everybody into a panic. That's a Funko collector thinking that Funko Pops are the past.
They're already going down. They're already down the other side. The apex is over. Several coming down the other side.
I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago, I did a Funko video on my YouTube channel. And it was the worst received video that I had done at that point. But in it, I said, how long before Funko starts reprinting those rare Funkos? And in that video with Clownfish, they talk about the fact that they unvaulted a bunch of stuff, thus killing their customers' collections.
Listen, it's not legal to care about work on the secondary market.
Yeah,
because it's like fixing the market if you care about it, but you still have to understand it's there.
Yeah,
and that vaulting has made people want to get into it, and then to unvault stuff is just the biggest. Whoever did that guy should be fired and hung.
Yeah.
And keep in mind,
it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal of your customer.
Right.
They have $49 million in cash on hand.
They're fine.
41 million. That's not money coming out of their bank account. That's lost revenue coming in.
Right.
They have one big note on their company, $250 million. They've been paying on that very, very well. This is just something that at some point will turn and they'll recover at some point. Right. But a company that has $49 million on hand in cash, I think they'll then be okay.
So
just stop throwing stuff in the holes in the ground in Arizona behind your warehouse.
Which did happen.
Yep.
Yeah. The sales for these are simple now, right? It's not the heavyweight collector who's coming in looking for the special one. It's Uncle Joe's birthday. We forgot to get him anything. We're running into the store. He likes Seinfeld. Or Parks and Recs. And that's the sale for that. It's a $15 sale all day long and they'll sell. Right. But the collecting thing is pretty dead.
Well, and I talk about it in that video, and I think I talked to Emmet about this, maybe even on this show. In my video, I said, I'm buying them for $1 and $2 a piece.
Yeah.
That was 4 months ago. I haven't paid $2 for a Funko in the last 2 or 3 months because they're coming in so much. And all I have to do is say, I only buy them for $1. Well, okay, I'll keep this one, and this one. But yeah, you can have the rest of this for $1.
Yeah.
They start to open their mouth to me and say, but this one is, I said, I don't care. I don't even want to know. I'm not even going to look them up. I'm just going to price them.
Yep.
$15.
I just sip my coffee and I'm like, I have no problem. If you don't want to sell them, I understand.
Yeah. When they bring them into me, I say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer you X, Y, Z, but you see that McDonald's over there? I need a Big Mac, no lettuce, no pickle, and Biggie size. And that's how I make my deals when it comes to Funkos, because Funkos are, It's something very hard to trend at all. You know, obviously, if you're a Star Wars fan, you then probably want to buy some Star Wars ones, or like Emmet says, genre ones. But I don't think people walk in saying, "Oh my gosh, let me make some money on Funkos going forward."
Right.
You know, actually, Brian, we didn't prep this one, but I guess we should talk about it because Jesse just segued us into McDonald's. Have you seen the Japan promo McDonald's scalpers?
Yeah, I saw that this guy had like 37,000 packs of the.
Yeah, but here's the problem: you can only get it if you buy a Happy Meal. So these guys, these scumbags, are going over and they're buying
the truck,
hundreds of them, taking the card out of the pack and just throwing the food in the garbage. While I just got back from Japan. There's homeless people in Japan, and they're just throwing the food in the garbage, and it's just driving people insane right now.
Yeah, dude bros, right? Scalper bros.
Yeah, that was it. And then they make their Instagram. Oh man, I got 100 of these promo packs, $7 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like when that Walking Dead calendar came out in 2016. They had the Walking Dead variant inside it, right? You rip that bad boy out, and you said, "I got this Walking Dead comic book. I ain't shipping no calendar. I'm just selling that Walking Dead book."
Yep.
Here's the funny thing. How much does a Happy Meal cost in the United States nowadays?
Well, it's about 5 to 6 in the U.S., but Japan. I did a whole thing. We went to McDonald's one time while we were over there. You can get a $2.50 Big Mac over there still.
Wow.
Yeah. Big Mac is $2.50, and it tastes better than the American Big Mac.
I went to a McDonald's for the first time in probably 2 years the other day, and I was craving a Big Mac, and I got a Big Mac meal. It was like $14. And I took one bite of the Big Mac, and I went, "This is the worst fucking thing I've ever eaten in my life," and threw it away.
Yeah, I tell you that lawsuit. I tried to do a class action lawsuit back. I mean, this is like 20 years ago, and I was like, "This isn't fair because I don't want lettuce and I don't want pickles." Yeah, if I ask for extra ketchup, they charge me 25 cents.
Yeah,
I want my rebate money for the last 30 years. For all the lettuce and pickles I did not have.
Have you ever gone to Culver's?
Hell yes,
Culver's,
I have. The best.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Have you ever minused anything at Culver's?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
When you minus stuff at Culver's, they do that, Jesse.
Oh, wow.
I don't want
got
lettuce, minus 20 cents. I don't want tomato, minus 20 cents. I want extra pickle, 0 addition for pickles.
The greatest thing to come out of Wisconsin since cheese. Culver's.
Yeah. Yep, there you go.
And by the way,
great guy.
Culver's has the best hamburgers, and they're cheap. I mean, I remember, Dennis, when you and Yi came out last year for San Diego, we hit up Culver's on our way there, man, and you could get like 2 hamburgers for like $4-5, dude, and they're amazing.
If you go watch the episode of Hot Ones when the president is on from Culver's, it's a great show. Great
I'll
show.
have to watch that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right.
We totally went off the plantation with that one.
I know, right? I know. So,
did you sell any of your V friends yet? Did anybody?
No, I still haven't. I'm keeping my price high. There's only 309 of these, Emmet.
Yeah. What did you put yours at?
750, and the highest offer I got was 325 right after one sold for 350.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope.
I got 300 for my first one. I'm gonna move them up. Each one, every time I sell one, I'm gonna move it up.
Yep.
So
I only got one, so I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
here's the thing. If I had time to go to National, imagine this thing signed by Gary V.
Yeah, he was at the Nationals, right?
Yep. He was signing autographs. He was at his booth most of the time. So, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good point.
I'll meet Gary V at some point in my life, and I will have him autograph my copies.
The National is tough because it's right after Comic-Con.
Yep.
Like it's right after San Diego.
Stein flew out to San Diego, flew back to his home, and got in a car and drove to the National. And he told me, he goes, if you think the collecting world is dead, you are a moron. He goes, there was so many people at the National. He goes, there was 3 times the amount of people at the National than there was San Diego. He was like, there was points when he was at the National who he was kind of freaking out because he couldn't get out. He couldn't move. He was like, you know, there were so many people there, and it was 3 levels. He said every level was more packed than the San Diego. So
yeah. Well,
absolutely
one of the
crazy.
things, Brian, a new video just popped up, and I forget the YouTuber, but he's one of the sports card YouTubers, and he's kind of the Dennis version of a sports card YouTuber. The sports hobby in the month of July made $308 million in 1 month, according to the on the record sales, which is the highest ever made by all of those, you know, cumulative.
There's probably
companies.
another 20, probably easily another 25%, if not more.
He was actually thinking it might be closer to $1 billion with all, because it only counted eBay auctions, you know, sales, all that. It does not count card shows because there's no way to determine that, you know. And he says it could be upwards of $1 billion a month just in that, and he doesn't even count PSA grading of the cards as part of that generative money.
Yeah.
So this was Stein at the National. You ready for this? He went to go take 1 card to the National to get graded on site at PSA that he's been holding on to for a little bit. He waited a year to get this card back. Check this out. And he got it back from Topps. So what happened is he bought this card, okay? It's a 1-on-1 superfractor, and it was damaged. So he reached out to Topps and he said, "Hey, you know, will you guys replace it? It's probably the best card in the entire set." And they said, "Yes, it's going to take a while because we have to wait till we get enough damages in to justify printing out a new sheet and then destroying, you know, whatever extras are." So they reprinted it. It took him about a year to get it back from Topps. And as soon as he got it back, it was time for San Diego. He came out to San Diego, and then he flew back, got the card, went to the National, and the same guy that he turned his card into at the National was the same guy I turned Jesse's tickets into at San Diego. Check this out.
Bang! That is crazy.
You got a 10?
PSA 10 on a superfractor Messi. That is nasty.
Wow.
Right.
That's our boy.
A Lionel Messi PSA 10 superfractor. Stein said that he thought about taking it to Beckett because the card is so perfect. He thought it could get a black label.
Pristine.
Pristine, yeah.
With
So-
that, I don't think you have to have the pristine.
Well, because he had it replaced, it never hit a pack.
It
Right.
never
It
hit a
wasn't
pack.
shuffled into a pack. It
Yep.
wasn't shuffled into the box.
Yep.
And then people didn't move it around when they were buying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he
He's
didn't have
probably
enough
right. That's probably
time.
a pristine.
He had to wait because it took so long for them to grade it on site. He was there only the last day. He didn't have enough time to shop it around at the thing. So it's still available. If there's any messy super collectors out there that are looking to get the
Hey, just
PSG,
tell him to put it on golden.
Yeah.
Well-
What's his number on it?
he's so some people are thinking he could get anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000,
Oh, I think you can get more than that.
and that's what some people are saying.
That's-
Some people are saying 50.
That's Messi's key year, isn't it?
No, well, it's the only year he played for PSG, I think, which is
Right.
And after he played with PSG, he came over to Miami. So, but the Merlin Chrome soccer set is like one of the main sets. So,
Stein, get a hold of me. I'll put it on eBay for $100K for you. And then somebody from Qatar is going to pay that in a minute.
yeah, yes, you got it. You got it. So, shout out to Ben Stein, the one, the only House of Stein.
And he pulled the ignition press number one.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. Yes, he did. So, by the way, you guys, we've got both Philip from Ignition Press and Greg from Boom coming on soon to talk about their amazing San Diego 2025, where I think both of those publishers, Ignition being a new one, Boom being, around a while, put on the best showing for a publisher at San Diego, no doubt about it. And Boom had the tape or the booth on the floor. Ignition had the little area off in the gas lamp, and they both killed it. I mean, absolutely killed it. So those guys will be coming on soon.
Well, I think Ignition Press really gave more to the retailers than anybody else at the show.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't mean about giving us stuff, because I bought all the books were for sale. But what I mean is that they were there to talk to us, show us their plan, move forward. The other one was maybe Panic, which is a brand new one, and it's kind of small. But like me and Dennis went to a lot of the mixers. The publishers didn't even want to speak to us.
No.
Really?
Well,
And not because we're Emmet and Dennis.
Part of that was because you were with me. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's where I always say, hey, I got to tie my shoe. Dennis, I'll catch up to you. Go out the other way. But keep in mind the best.
By the way, that phone call I got was Manu, who's in the chat, trying to call me in the middle of the show.
Keep in mind the best publishers in the world do not have a financial gain at a convention. Their financial gain comes, how are they still being talked about on Monday?
Yep.
And Greg and Philip have hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
They have been nonstop working the phones, not only strengthening relationships, but they are making new relationships.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Sure.
Nick is on it. I'll be on in 10 minutes. So we got 10 minutes to waste. So yeah, so very, very interesting when you do hear a publisher, they'll say, oh my gosh, we sold so many books out.
Have you ever had your...
Who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You have to make, okay, so much like in business, when a customer comes in your store, you have to make an impact. Okay.
Yeah.
San Diego is the industry's store.
Yep.
And if you go into Walmart, that's why Pepsi has a giant display when you walk in. They jobber that giant display because they want to make an impact. And if you came in for soda, they want you to pick Pepsi.
Yeah.
When 3 or 4 of us walk into San Diego, you have to have a display. You have to be Pepsi. You can't just be
slinging books.
You can't be RC Cola. Okay.
Well,
you have
delicious.
to be Pepsi.
RC is delicious.
It is, and cherry RC was like really rare.
Man,
and here's the thing:
just make those gray beards look even grayer with that 30 seconds.
I wish I had a tab though.
Yeah.
But Philip made an impression.
Yeah.
Panic made an impression. So many publishers that we talked to, boom, made an impression. Titan made an impression. I don't know what Marvel was selling. And I buy Marvel's pins every year. I couldn't even buy a Marvel pin this year because you had to log on to a website and then go to a queue to get in line, to be able to stand in line.
There really was not a lot of people in line at the Marvel booth.
No.
Like you could have went all the way through the line right up to the counter.
Yeah, and DC was way back in the corner, but they weren't pushing comic books. They were pushing, hey, go see Superman.
Well, their new game, the movie.
Yep.
I want to. This is funny because I saw this and I thought of Jesse, and Jesse not too long ago brought up the pencils, the old school sports pencils, right? The old school NFL pencils.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
You know, everything in these day and age, man, there's somebody out there that wants them. And this one really cracked me up. Ready for this?
I recently bought a bag of pens at the thrift, and you might be wondering, why would you buy a bag of pens at the thrift? Aren't pens pretty much worthless? And the answer is, not if they're drug rep pens. And you see, since 2009, all drug rep merch, including pens, have been voluntarily discontinued. And believe it or not, they're pretty collectible. The most valuable pens tend to be from the categories of painkillers, antidepressants, sleep aids, stimulants, and benzodiazepines. If you find yourself a bag of drug rep pens, here's what I would do. Check the value of each one on eBay because you just never know. Like this Cialis pen, for example, I didn't think would be worth listing separately, but I was wrong. Check every pen to see if it writes because not all of them are refillable, and people do want to know. From there, you can make your lots as all plastic pens or all metal pens because some people do collect one or the other, or you can do a lot of pens that write and a lot of pens that are dry. My favorite pen of this lot is this nice gold Zoloft one. It'll go great with the huge bin of Zoloft tissues I found last year. I don't find it often, but drug rep merch is one of my favorite categories to sell on eBay, and I hope you'll keep an eye out for it now too.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
thank you
we
so
must
much.
have the exact same algorithm, Brian, because I saw that last week.
Oh, how come I didn't see it?
Yeah.
That makes me so
There was a subliminal message there at the beginning if you did not catch it.
Which what?
I recently
Put
bought a
it
bag of
on
pens.
the first 2 seconds and then freeze it.
This one?
There's something that
Oh,
will catch-
pen is.
Yeah. Pen is. Yeah. So
No,
if
it's
someone
pens.
first looks at that,
Well, you see penis, but it's pens. Is.
All right. I have a stupid subliminal as well. I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook post.
Well, I'll tell
it's
you,
from-
I know 3 drug reps who are going to get a phone call from me. Hey, what did you do with those discontinued pens? They probably
go-
just want to get them out of their house.
Go back last weekend, and I put a picture of one of the signs one of the girls that work for me posted to on our wall. And I'll send it to you, Brian, so you don't have to scroll back because I do too many freaking posts. And so she made this sign at the convention. Here it is. And we put the sign up, and I'm walking around, and I look at the sign. And I'm like, does anybody else see that on the sign? And all of the guys were like, yeah, I see it. And all the girls are like, what? I drew the cat from Pokemon. I'm like, you don't see it. You don't see that. So
That's
yeah,
funny.
there's all kinds of subliminals if you just pay attention.
Yeah, that's the world we live in, you guys. We love dick and fart jokes as always.
yeah, exactly. I did want to, before Nick comes on, I don't know. Oh, here it is. Let me save this again. And let's see here. I want to show you all what I sold today, even though 2 gentlemen weren't even talking about what I sold. Can you go up a little bit with the girl with the paper with the phone?
Where in the
In our chat, go up. It's about 20 up. It's a girl with blue hair. So this young lady came in and she was looking around and she kept on going back to this one area. And I'm like, okay, well, that's where the music is. So she's probably looking at records. She bought our phone that we had in back. It was just a prop. And she said, how much is this? And I said, well, I guess we could sell. And she's like, I'll take it. And she was amazed that she was able to get this. It made me feel old because she made me feel like this came out in like 1856. And
This
she's
is
like,
the
I'm
phone.
into all my
This is the
friends."
phone that Lincoln called to buy the tickets for the theater.
Yes.
In New York, we get 60 for those.
Wow.
I sold one for 25.
And if it's one of the ones where it was letters first, remember when there was only 2 letters, and then if it's one of those ones further back, I get 100 to 150 for them. Yeah.
My mom
They're
has
pretty
one of the
sought after
ones.
up
I
there.
remember growing up, my mom has one of the ones that are like super old and they're like really like ornate and stuff. And
yeah,
I grew up with that.
My mom is a retired phone operator. She collected phones since I was a child.
Oh,
and
nice.
she has probably 20 or 30 different types of phones going back to candlesticks. And
that's what it was, a candlestick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a wind up in my hallway here in my house.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, my mom bought one of those old school wind up boxes. You know how they were like these big boxes and it was on the outside? And then she changed it to where you would open up the box and that's where the phone was on the inside.
Phone was inside.
Oh, see, I have that wind up in my hallway.
Yeah.
But it used to suck, folks. Growing up, you're doing that rotary and getting to like the 7th number and putting in the wrong number. Up and then no
backspace. No backspace.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So those were the days, and the great rings, and obviously at some point they got smart and you could get 24-foot phone cords so you could walk around your whole house and watch people trip over it.
My favorite were the ones that were clear in the 80s and you could see like all the parts. Yeah, and they would change. They would light up in lights.
So we should probably have ancient history lesson here. There was a period of time when that phone was sold by Jesse, or that Jesse had, where you could not own a phone. You did not own the phone. AT&T owned the phone. You could only buy a phone from AT&T. If you got a second line put in your house, AT&T came out and they leased you a phone.
Was it Bell
and then there was
at the
this
time?
Yeah, it was
Bell.
Bell.
Yeah, Bell.
Ma Bell.
Ma Bell.
Yeah, Ma Bell.
And and at that point, you would go into your local Bell telephone shop and you would pick out your phone.
Yeah.
And then somebody sued because they were like, okay, this is not right. They control the commodity, they control the utility, they control too many parts of this. And when the breakup happened, it allowed other people to sell phones.
Yeah.
And that's when you got the Corvette phone.
Yeah.
And the football phone.
Yeah.
Remember the football phone that you could get from Sports Illustrated?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then you got to upgrade to JJ's beepers. And then life just became great.
Yeah. The king of beepers.
Now I remember that you could dial just the last 4 digits if they were in your neighborhood. The exchange
party line.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could just dial the last 4 digits of their number and
I remember my nosy aunts. So what we're talking about, folks in the chat who have no clue what we're talking about. They used to have your block was a phone bank. And back when they had party lines, your house might be 1 ring. Somebody else might be 2 rings. Somebody else might be 2 long rings and 2 short rings. And the phone call would come into your block and you would hear your ring and pick it up. But anyone could pick up that phone and find out somebody was on it. So my aunts, my nosy aunts were so good at this. They could pick up the phone and, oh, did you know so-and-so down the street is doing this? And they would hang it up, Yeah.
Back in the day in old movies, it was kind of like you had there was always that old lady that sat on the stoop and told everybody's business, right?
Business.
And she was getting all the business from those party lines, So
back in the day when I didn't want to come home from a party, I would have someone call my parents and I would get on the other phone in the other room. And when my parents would come on, I would say, "Hey, don't worry about it. I got it." And they would go, "Oh, okay." Right. And think that I'm home in the room. Right?
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
I wish I thought of that shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I figured out a certain person who shows up to your house on Christmas, in case anybody is. I figured out what that was. And I also knew how the phones worked. And they had my uncle call from upstairs to downstairs and pick up the phone and try to fool me into thinking that was the actual person who comes on Christmas Eve. And I was like, no, this isn't. And I ran upstairs and I heard the other phone click down as I was running up the stairs. Once you figured out how to work this, Jesse seems like he's worked it the best.
Yeah.
Because I never thought of that. That's brilliant.
That is absolute genius.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's great stuff. Different world. I think because you can be tracked with your phones, your parents can have a better grab on you. I think the innocence that we had of what we did was so much different back in the day. and you almost want to hope you kind of want to hope that they take a kid and they say, listen, for a week you're living in the 70s or the 80s to understand what they got today, because I still don't think they understand what they got, even on a comic book. Let me give you a comic book from night. Put that comic book down. I'm going to give you a Fantastic Four 231 or not even 178, and I'm going to have you read that book. Tell me how much better that read is beyond reading the ads as well.
Well, Brian, did you see it? Because Emmet and I saw it. One of the biggest booths at San Diego Comic-Con was off to the side of the Hulu booth, and they set up a typical 1980s, late 80s, early 90s bedroom with, I think it wasn't Nickelodeon, it was probably Disney Channel on the TV, and
people taking pictures in it. Yeah.
an old phone.
For Fantastic Four. I saw it. Was it for Fantastic Four, right?
No. This
No,
was
not the Fantastic Four one. This was just a regular bedroom. Not the other one had like all the
fancy shit. Yeah.
This was just like a regular room with all like 80s stuff in it, and people could take their photo in it.
Yeah, and it's funny to think someone brought up the sea monkeys, but to put a comic book down and say, man, I wish I could afford those sea monkeys, right? The want of everything in those ads, the X-ray glasses and the 6-foot Frankenstein.
I bought the armies.
But here's the problem. I had the really good Mark's Little Green Army Men, and then you buy that stupid thing. 200 and a boat and a howitzer, and you get them, and they were like that.
They were for trains. They were for like HO.
They were like, so tiny.
Maybe
I was so disappointed.
Yeah, HO maybe. But I think maybe they were even for N scale.
I think they were N scale because there's no way they were tiny.
Yeah, I still loved them.
Yeah, I mean, now you read a comic book and it's like, hey, go buy this F-150 truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you can afford a $6 modern comic, you probably can afford an F-150.
I remember my mom telling me as a kid that, like at some point, like everybody thinks that they grew up in the greatest time ever, that their music was the best or their toys were the best. And I'll fight anybody to this day that there is no greater toy than the 3 3/4 G.I. Joe. No greater toy than the 3 3/4 G.I. Joe.
Vintage Star Wars, sir. Sit down, kid.
Vintage Star Wars is great, but it didn't have the posability that Joe's had.
I get it, but man, G.I. Joe was just an evolution of that Star Wars figure. It was Star Wars is now gone. It's still the coolest toy, but we could do so much more with that little scale figure now. And together you had a complete childhood if you had Star Wars and G.I. Joe.
Which I did. Yeah. Yes, sir. So, all right. Where is Nick? Nick, where are you? Get in here.
We are audience. If you don't understand, we are stretching for time.
Yes.
Let's see if there's an update to his app. Maybe.
There you go. Yeah, I think once you said RC, that's RC Cola. I think we kind of started going down.
Jump the shark.
Here comes Wokes.
I don't know what
Here
that
comes
was.
Wokes.
Yeah.
Last
Somebody
hope.
That was John Boy telling me about cricket. So.
Yeah. But anyways, we are in a world, folks, where now instead of waiting for an Overstreet to come out that's obsolete the next day, or a Wizard magazine coming out, you now have the ability to get on the spot value. Now it's not always right value, but you now have the opportunity to get extended value pretty fast, and you can kind of, as you get older in this or in the business of collecting, you can kind of skew it the way that makes sense to you and your collection. So we do have Nick coming up, who was I don't know, was there any app before Nick?
No, not that I can think of.
There wasn't, not app. There was several websites.
Yeah. Didn't
It used to be called Long Box, and it changed to Comic Book Price Guide. It was originally called Long Box.
I remember Comic Base. There was a program back in the early 2000s called Comic Base, which was awesome, which I loved. And I remember going to San Diego one year and buying the Comic Base program for like $250, and I never opened it up. Never opened it up, man. I found it the other day unopened in my thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you. By the way, if you guys have been following this show for all 76 episodes now, certain people we bring on the show quite often, and this next guest has been on the show multiple times now. We like to bring him in, and whenever we talk about like mid-year in the comic industry and different stuff, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Coglianese from Key Collector. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, buddy. Hi.
Check your mic, brother.
Oh no.
Check your mic.
You're a little echoey.
All right.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, I don't think it's using your headset mic.
You might be using your camera mic.
Yeah. Check in StreamYard. So the funny thing is we have brought Nick on for multiple reasons now when like these crazy stories have hit to get his thoughts on it, because I think, there you go. We just heard it pop in.
Great.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody. Hi. How are you?
How you doing, brother? It's good to see you.
I'm good. Thank you. You could hear me fine?
We can. It sounds great.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Before we start,
Emmet.
before we start, we have a pronunciation
Coglianese.
that we want you to hear.
Is it Coglianese or Coglianese?
See, okay, it's, I mean, look, the other day, my girlfriend and I went and visited her grandma, who's like, doesn't speak very much English. She's Italian. She said my last name in a way that I'd never heard before. So, I mean, I can't really, it's like Coglianese or something along those lines. I always say colonies, like the 13 colonies, because it's easy. There's a G in it, so it kind of throws everybody off. But
hey, I tried.
Whatever. It sounded good, Brian. I mean, and it sounded good. How you said it came second to the Italian grandma.
Yes.
Isn't there a G in Bolognese, and nobody pronounces that one?
Nick,
some do.
Just to let you know, we raised the price of being a guest on the show. So make sure.
Really? Did you add any new features, Dennis? Tell me that.
That's my question.
We brought you on.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I didn't get my complimentary joint from you, though. I would have thought that for the extra money.
Yeah. One of these days, brother. One of these days.
I could take it.
Yeah. What do you want to tackle first?
You guys mixed bag. Just stick your hand in the bag and whatever you guys want.
I'm going to run downstairs and grab a drink. I'll be right back.
How responsible for Darren Davis creating stolen and counterfeit intellectual properties do you feel you are personally responsible for?
Me? Personally responsible for, I would say less than zero. I mean, yeah. Was there ever a question that
on Thursday you were partially to blame for?
Oh, because we put it up on Instagram. Well, and the reason for that is because I think that there needed to be a conversation about the actual piece in and of itself, which I think what a lot of people missed initially was that, it wasn't just a question of whose intellectual property is this. This was intellectual property that the publisher deemed to be something that they didn't want to release. And then a company comes in and they say, you know what, we're just going to re-illustrate it and release it. So, and that was, I think that's where, when you look at the whole situation, that particular situation with that cover is a little bit, it's a little hard to swallow, I mean, it just seems kind of wrong. So amazingly, people thought that this was something that we embellished for reasons. I have absolutely no idea why that would be something that we would make up. It
was inferred that it was not real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, full for clarification, people were saying, "Oh, this is something that a lawyer would not write that." I never even said it was from a lawyer. It was from
You
DC's intellectual infringement department. The individual, his name is like Al Jula or something like that. You could Google Warner Brothers intellectual copyright infringement department, and the guy's name will probably come up. I think he was a lawyer, but this was not a legal document. It was just a courtesy. Hey, could you take this off of your site? Because it being on my site on the app, it's like it's for sale. There's a perception that this item might be for sale, that DC published it to profit off of it. So that was why they asked for it to come down, in my opinion.
Nick, did you get a chance to see the episode last Thursday?
I did. It was great. It was hilarious. I mean, it was really funny. By the end of it, I thought I was overhearing like a conversation at like a gay bar, but it was really fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very good at deflecting. He gets
it. Was there were times, how sometimes when you're like, don't like, why are you defending yourself in a way that makes it look like you're defending yourself in a way that's not good? It's like a bad. So I don't know what the fallout from that is, but I think it's funny. It's Blue Wave, TidalWave, like Stormfront. They've had all these aliases, and I mean, who else has aliases? Like people who con others.
Well, we talked about it earlier. When we were breaking down a little bit of the whole diamond thing, and about like I think Emmet made a joke, or somebody made a joke, like just change your name and sell the company.
Yeah, right. No, but no, I don't have any negative feelings towards anybody personally. I somehow got mixed up in the conversation just because I got the email from Warner Brothers, but he seems to know what he's doing, and it seems like there isn't a legal precedent there. So what are you going to do, right?
How often have you gotten these types of letters in the past? Is this like the only time you've gotten a letter like that, or an
oddly,
email like that?
I got a letter once from a lawyer who I posted something on Facebook about Max the Rapping Robot.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It was, so there was a statue in New York that somebody had, there was a Max the Rapping Robot statue that was placed in New York. Somebody commissioned it, and the New York Post took a picture of it, wrote an article, which we reposted on Facebook, and got a letter from a lawyer, which was odd because it was a repost from New York Post. So I think that there's a bit of a, I don't know, confusion in this in the copyright arena with comic books, because so much of it is fair use. And so that there's a lot of just probably gray area or just undefined laws.
And what would it cost you to get, if he's making 500 copies for somebody and he's selling them for $2.50, or even if he's hitting them for $4 or $5, what, 500 copies, $2,500.
Oh,
DC's not going after that. $2,500.
No, but I think it's more, a principle type of thing.
No, absolutely.
To be quite honest, I really don't know why they reached out to us, because, or how they even found it. I mean, it was just entered into the database probably 2 to 3 days before that.
Wow.
It wasn't really something that was on the radar in any significant circle, except maybe, starting to bubble up on social media, just a little bit. I mean, I really, it was a bit strange how
Nick,
it actually came to me.
I think it's 100% exactly that. I think that it's starting to get too hot. I think it's starting to start to boil, and there's frogs sitting in that water right now, and not only that, there are a lot of people out there that are sending, anytime something comes up where it's like, hey, this is kind of questionable. They're sending it to DC editors, or they're sending it to Marvel editors, or they're sending it saying, "Hey, did you see this? Did you see this?" Because listen, it's what does Dennis and Jesse like to say, that it's a musical chairs in the comic industry. Everybody, knows each other and they jump from job to job.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people that are being like, "Hey, did you see this?" And that's happening with a lot of these people who are editors at these comic, publishers that are, getting sent this information. And I wouldn't be surprised one bit if that's kind of what caused this train. Somebody said,
maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, who the hell even knew there was a market for this stuff, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's to me, that's the real mystery. Is like, I can't believe this. There's so much of this that's produced
because they learned it. They learned it from doing Marvel and DC books, right?
Yeah,
they know which ones sell, but they don't want to buy 3,000 books from Marvel and DC and tell them what cover they get to have.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a good point.
And
yeah, you got your minimum the 3,000 copies.
I think they've knocked it down to 1,500 now, but that's still
DC has,
nut.
but not Marvel.
Yeah,
not Marvel.
I mean, it kind of
doesn't
huge
make nut.
Yeah.
Well,
they sure make a lot of they do well from it. I think that they really collect pretty big Marvel and DC from those retailer store exclusives.
Well, you know what I kind of think it is also.
Yeah.
Darren is kind of like the substitute school teacher when it comes to publishers. If you contact any one of the publishers and say, "Hey, I want to do Taylor Swift as Dazzler," why? No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then the substitute school teacher comes in and says, "Oh, I'll do 100 variants for you, and you can put whatever the hell you want on there."
Well, I mean, there is a genius to it in the sense that you can produce something quick that is topical, right? I mean, when you're talking about Hugh Jackman or Charlie Cox or Taylor Swift as Dazzler, something topical that you can kick out some covers and sell 500 of them, or sell 10 of them, or 5 of them. I mean, if you're nimble, I think that it could be a prospect that's obviously been working for them.
I'm going to tell you what was very interesting to me, and I'm just giving my observation on this.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to me to see that, and from what I hear, he reached out to all his retailers that have done covers with him in the past and said, "Hey, I'm going on the show, come support me." And it was interesting to see all those retailers jump in the chat who we normally don't see in the chat, really supporting this guy. Because they're and made me think, oh, are you supporting this guy because you believe in it, or are you supporting this guy because you're making money off of it?
Okay, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah, I wasn't really looking at the chat. I'm sure that, look, I mean, it's hard not to support something that's helping you pay the bills.
I agree.
In an increasingly expensive world, which it is. I mean, everything costs more and more money, like Dennis brought up at the very beginning of me coming on. But I think that there's a place for it, obviously. I mean, it's such a gray area, it's hard to even say if it's something that you can really condemn him for, right? I mean, there are definite things that I think pushes the line, but I think that they like that. I think they like that. It gets some attention. The conversation gets some attention. I think that if nobody was really getting upset about it or had an opinion on it, I'm sure that it wouldn't be as lucrative as it has been. I mean, we're talking about it now for the second week in a row on this show. And then a couple of weeks before that, it's been talked about. I mean, match that up with what we had when there was the acetate gate. What was that? Black something comic?
Yeah, Black Flag Comics.
I mean,
Black Flag.
That book was going for like $250 on the aftermarket.
Oh, no.
900.
It was
400.
Yeah,
it was like 1,000 for the 99.
Yeah, it was. It's all right, graded 99. But it was. I mean, these are the things when there's that crossover into the real world. I mean, look at comics like how you have the Danzig cover on the on the Crystar comic. How you have how you have the Hulk Hogan comic from Marvel Comic Presents that just got really hot after Hulk Hogan died. And there's when there is a connection to the real world, in the comic book world, there's a really interesting dynamic that happens there that accelerates demand, and that's kind of what's been happening here.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if only there were an app that would capitalize on that.
Well, hey, that's what.
Yeah.
Well,
unfortunately, DC reached out to us and said, "You better not capitalize on that."
Right. There you go.
Right.
So when you're talking about the gray areas, do you feel that you need to have some research responsibility, or are you kind of going with how it is socially out in the public?
I mean, that's where I think we excel in a lot of ways, where we present the situation. There's a category on Key Collector called there's a bunch of them. There's one called Beyond Bizarre. There's one called Lichtenstolen. There's one called Misconceptions. There's one called Buyer Beware. There's there's one called Controversial. So these different categories, I think, is where we present those ideas and try to present both sides, or just the straight facts about them. I mean, one of the things that I think that I do very well is to not insert my opinion into a lot of these descriptions on Key Collector. I try to make it as
well.
No, go ahead. I try to make it as just straightforward as possible. So something like this. To answer your question, I think, do I take it down or not? Well, if a publisher asks me to take it down, I mean, I think it's our responsibility to take it down.
I've always looked at you as kind of like an aggregate news site for what's hot.
Oh yeah.
So
that's another.
You can watch The House of Stein. You could watch Comic Tom. You can watch, Comic Investment. You can watch all these different things and go, okay, they've got a hot 10 list, and 6 of those books cross over to this guy's hot 10 list. But what are the hot 15? And Key Collector kind of surmises all of that into, hey guys, these are the 20 books that are trending this week.
Yeah, and no, I mean, I would say that, our list, the trending 20, I would say, all right, Brian, I think it's time to comp your subscription.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can send me your email. I thought that it was. You can send me your email in chat so you can.
How humiliating! You had all those locks on there, you influencer.
Yeah.
But all right.
I want to before
I would say, but just let me address Dennis real quick in saying that our trending 20, like Comic Tom, he does our hot 10. He takes the trending 20. I give him the hot 10 of the trending 20. After the list goes up, and that is what he uses as to do his show. So I wouldn't say it's an aggregate, because when we put out the trending 20, it sort of establishes those are the books that are in demand that week based on our key issue alerts, because of news that came out of the key issue alerts. Like, for example, it might be news that Marvel has cast a character that we had never heard of. Then we send out the key issue alert. So of course that's going to push a book into a higher demand. So it is an aggregate of news. I wouldn't say it's an aggregate of other lists. I would say it's an aggregate of what's happening in the industry, what's happening in comic books, what's happening in movies and TV, or anything comic book related at that time, and sometimes just adjacent to comic books.
Yeah, I've always said this about Key Collector and the Key Collector app. My favorite part is all the different lists. It is by far the best part of the app for me. I think that that's probably the most valuable part of this because we all collect different niche, categories. Like, I collect the creator first. I collect the skull covers. I collect the alien covers. People out there collect, all different kinds of stuff. And you have all those lists.
We have like 600. We have like 600 categories now. If you search category, if you just go to search category, you'll see. I mean, it's kind of, if you go up to the top and click on search, and then you click on category, it's kind of ridiculous. amount of categories that have been built over the course of 6 years since we launched the app.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts. It does get a little nuts.
But
and
I
you
love
should
it.
be comped by now, actually.
Thank you, brother.
Right, exactly.
All you
I
gotta
love
do is
it.
refresh if you're signed in. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that very much.
This is the reason why I think the app is so valuable to me. I know a lot of people, like Dennis said, love the hot books, which is it's a reason in its own, you know, its own right. But at the same time, there are so many other reasons to use this app and utilize this app. And you know, over the years, it has been invaluable for a lot of people that use it. But those lists, man, you can
Thank
get
you.
lost in them. And not only that, like you find new things to collect through these lists.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
never know about. I mean, you can go on those lists, and I guarantee you, anybody out there jumps in those lists, you will be stuck there for an hour finding new things to collect.
Thank
It's
you.
unreal.
And you guys have been really supportive, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody that, you know, is in your audience that has been supportive and said nice things all the way, you know, from back when we started, because that's, I mean, I can't express enough how grateful I am to, I mean, I've been collecting comics since 1989, and to be able to do this in this kind of way is like, you know, I realized it not that long ago. The weird thing is, when I was growing up, I was like, oh man, I want to be an artist. I want to be a comic book artist. And then I don't have the talent for art. And then I want to be a writer. I didn't have the talent for that. And then so life went on, and then somehow I wind up like building this app and being in the comic book industry. And that I realized it just like 2 years ago. I'm like, my gosh, this is like a dream, you know. It's like, and I'm grateful, and I do not take it for granted, which I hope comes across in the way that I present this information. And, you know, I hope that everybody just loves using it.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the first year? The first year that you did this, you were not getting a lot of love from the retailers at all.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was really difficult, you know. I mean, not everybody, but it was just, you know, it's difficult. There's a quote, and I forgot what it is, but it's like when something new technologically comes into an industry, it's like first it's you know, it's laughed at, and then and then there's a certain ignored. Like anger. Well, first it's ignored, and then maybe laughed at. Then there's anger, and then there's acceptance. So, you know, we sort of went through those stages without me even knowing it was happening, because I was just, you know, my life was on the line with it. You know, I pretty much sacrificed my career in the liquor industry. I was in the liquor industry, and it was difficult to sort of get a foothold. There was a lot of attacks, but, you know, we just stayed true to exactly what it was built for, to be a resource for people who wanted to get this information somehow and not have to, you know, hack their way with a machete through the, you know, the rainforest of information, and really try to make it concise. And, you know, staying true to that, and not trying to promote anything that wasn't, you know, that was like financially. All right, my cat is getting in on the action here.
We love
I knew
it,
that would
man.
happen.
We love it.
Yeah. He's really not enjoying that I'm giving my attention to you guys. But come here, buddy. Come here.
Other furry creatures.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So I've got some flowers to throw, and then I have a
thank you, Emmett. I will accept them. Maybe.
All right.
Thank you.
So you created an app. There was a couple other ones out there that did sort of the same thing, but you gave everybody a reason to go every day to check. Did something new come up, something hot turn on? So you gave that reason to go to that app every day, and people then saw the value in paying for it, which I was an early adopter, and I've been a subscriber since the very beginning.
Thank you. Yeah, and you have
done several videos. And the question is that I just got the announcement of the price change.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So on it, it said, hey, if you don't want to pay, which I thought was very weird, is like, if you don't want to pay it, cancel it by this time.
Yeah.
But like, not like, here's the new features, this is what we're doing for the new money. None of that was there.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, if you don't want it, just cancel.
You know, because this is a hobby that I've enjoyed, you know, with all my heart, and to, have it that there's, that there is a subscription aspect to it, which, by the way, I feel it's an agreement. Like the subscription is meant to help you build a more valuable collection. But, the one thing that we do that's a little different is, look, if you don't want to pay for it, you're not going to have to suffer through ads.
Right.
You're not going to be limited to what you can put on your owned or your wanted. You're not going to be limited to looking at, you can't see certain, series or titles or issues, or you can only do this much or that much. I want people to enjoy the resource. I want
really
people to
open.
enjoy this. Yeah. And I think we do that. I think we give more than, we give the pricing, except for the graded pricing, but, we give because I want people to enjoy the hobby and enjoy this app that took a long time. And I feel that, if people want to use the app to build a more valuable collection, well, that's what the key issue alerts are for. That's what the export collection's for. The graded pricing is for. And, all these different aspects of the subscription. So I feel like there is a very even, like, okay, well, it costs this, but you're using it to build value in your collection. So, and hopefully
I'll throw
for a business expense, it's, $40. I mean, 20 or 40. It's, for me, it's nothing. I just felt that hey, if you just don't want it anymore, just instead of going, hey, we're raising it, and
and take that
features.
Yeah.
What are the updates? Do you have any?
It,
do you have
when
any
we
new
launched
features?
I'm sorry.
I want to ask real quick: is there any new features with these the price increase?
Oh, well, that's the funny thing, is that when we launched the subscription, it was $1.99 or $19.99, and it was one category. It was hotkeys.
Yep.
So since then, we haven't taken a price increase all through, COVID, when everything was going crazy. I was like, no, I didn't want to take a price increase and like put the hurt on people that were already hurting, and, all that during that time. But we built an image scanner. We added an entire database. We've redesigned the app a bunch of times. There's the camera, the image scanner. There's the graded pricing. There's like 20 more categories. We've rebuilt the back end so it's faster. I mean, the list goes on. I think it is in that email, all the stuff that we did add. But and with that, there's costs. So it got to a point now where we just couldn't have it as $1.99 anymore, because we wouldn't be able to continue development.
Well,
I mean,
let me ask a couple questions, and then I want to hit you with a big one that
Sure.
you
all right.
don't want to answer.
Stump me, man. I know what it is.
So first of all, as a free app, what your site does is instrumental in having me hiring people who do not have our collective love of comics and knowledge.
Right.
And I can literally hand them your app and say, see that stack of comics, go through that stack of comics on Key Collector and sort them by these price. And that costs me zero. I have 4 store phones, and I can use it for free on all 4 of those for that intended use.
Absolutely.
And that's not changing at all, correct?
No.
Right.
No, we're not going to start locking things down just to force people to subscribe. I mean, obviously there's far more people using it for free than there are subscribers. And and that's, we're not going to try to, corral people into subscribing. It's just
one of the things that Emmet and I have been talking about on this show and off the show is the 2020 emergence of what I call the dude bro and Emmet calls the comic bro. And we have to believe that your site was probably one of their most active tools.
What is this?
So
dude
these
bro?
are the guys that came from the sports card space and the comic space when they realized how cheap our dollar boxes were and how antiquated a lot of stores were. And they were going through and digging boxes and using your app to get a bunch of books. But we've also been talking lately about how those guys are disappearing. Does that affect part of why this increase has to happen, because you've lost a lot of that
No, not at
traveling
all.
money.
No, because I don't even know, no. Nothing is ever done in a way that's like, we lost money, now we got to do this in order to squeeze. No, we've added value. We've added tons of value that's very expensive. Development is extremely, it's a huge expense. AWS, the servers are huge expenses. Data collection's huge expenses. Just keeping all this stuff on, keeping everybody's own one, everything that people use the app for, it all costs money. And adding features, continuing development, it's just the way that it had to happen. But still, I think that if you compare the cost monthly or yearly to any other resource that's out there that has the same amount of features, I think we're still like half the price.
Well,
like
I'm going to go one step further, Nick.
Yeah.
What year did the site start?
There's my kid. 2017, October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the average price of a comic book from the big two in 2017?
Yeah, probably $3.99. So
what's the average price of a comic from the big two now?
$3.99 or $4.99?
No, it's like $5.99.
Is it $5.99 now?
$4.99 and $5.99. Yep.
Yeah.
So the inflation of the product that your site aggregates has
crazy,
drastically raised.
Right. What is your? Go ahead.
Oh no.
I was just going to say, what is your age demographics? 35 and below.
Oh, not much. As far as percentage goes, I'll be honest with you. I'm so focused on content. Like content to me, my philosophy has always been content is king with the app. So it's always about, finding the most interesting thing about comics, finding the most interesting categories, finding the most interesting news that I would like, because what I would like, this whole idea was born from, okay, as a comic book collector, what is it that I want? What is it that I want? And I'm assuming that this is something that, is a pretty general desire among the comic book community. So I don't necessarily look at things like what demographic and who's looking at who wants. So I don't really look at the numbers that much. I really don't. I honestly, it's a lot more difficult than you would think. But it's probably like people in their 40s and 50s. It's the aging dinosaur collectors are, that's, our age.
Wow, 40s and 50s are ancient dinosaurs.
I'm right there, sir. Call me a Stegosaurus. I'm right there with you guys. Our beards are getting whiter.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I guess my question was.
I know, man, but it looks great. It looks really good.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. My question that kind of geared around that was, because you don't look at that, you're not really looking at bells and whistles and how pretty it looks. You're more about, okay, how easy is it to navigate is more important.
Right. And that's, a lot of that is development. So that falls into a different category. And again, I have a great developer who I've had since day one, and he is I think he's a genius. And if you could do the type of stuff that it takes to build an app and, oh, can we do this? Yeah, we could do that. Okay. All right, great. It costs money, and he is he's very good at what he does. So, people send us a lot of suggestions, and we usually implement them. Right. So it's not necessarily my, I can't take the credit for the app entirely. I got to give a lot of credit to the community and what they've wanted and what they've expressed that they've wanted, and us being like, yeah, we could do that.
So you're saying you are the final editor?
Yeah, I'm sort of an editor-in-chief, sure. Yeah.
That's one of the things that a lot of people talk about is they feel like you aren't updating the app fast enough. But I don't think people realize how much work goes into this app, and you are taking these suggestions from people that send them in, and you're getting a ton of them. People don't realize how many suggestions people are sending you, and all the different platforms they're coming from.
I mean, I'm not sure what I to be honest with you, I've never heard that criticism that we aren't updating it fast enough. I mean, in like content or just
No,
like
no.
features?
I think like pricing, right? Pricing is one of them, right? Which is a hard thing to do.
But Brian, I got to say, I do hear people say that on your show. I think that there's always been a certain segment of the audience of people who just from day one have always been like, oh, the price is bad, and maybe have not even looked again in the past 6 or 7 years. But we're partnered with eBay, we're partnered with Heritage, we have all the pricing that goes into our system.
It's an average.
It's an average. And you know what? There's a lot of people who are going to say that price is wrong without it. They don't, because they want it to to higher.
That's what I was getting at,
right?
That's exactly what I was getting at. That point right there is very valid.
Yeah. There's people that say it, but I look at every single message that comes into support at Key Collector or Nick at keycollectorcomics.com. I read every email. We don't get that criticism very often. And if anybody ever says, hey, look, I think that there's something wrong with the price here, it gets looked at immediately. If it's something that needs to be changed, it's changed immediately. And then you see the result of that within seconds on the other end. So,
Well, but you could choose to be reactionary or proactionary.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, our market is full of fluctuations.
Oh, yeah. Pricing will always be, I mean, whether it's overstreet, not even behind the curve, but it will always be something that is debated, that is criticized. You're not going to get somebody, a whole community that agrees on the price of one thing and says, wow, they nailed it. Whether it's overstreet, whether it's, even an eBay sale. I mean, how many times are there eBay sales that people are, oh, they paid too much. Oh, they paid too little. Oh, they got, I mean, there's an insane amount of, and this was what was really difficult that my developer was kind of going crazy about. There, something that is let's say a golden age comic book that's a 2.5 sells for $150 in 2015. Then it sells for $1,800 in 2019. And then in 2020, it sells for $165. It's like, there is so much fluctuation and so much inconsistency with pricing. We built this algorithm. It took us 2.5 years to just build like the algorithm behind the pricing and the information and how we're going to present it and how we're going to create these averages. Because the cool thing about what we've done is we've created a full matrix of pricing. So if there is missing information on a 7.0, if there was never a 7.0 that sold, well, we know between a 7.5 and a 6.5, it must be somewhere in between. So what is the percentage difference between a 7.5 and a 6.5, and what's the average median right there? Okay, well, now we can make a guess as to what that value is, if that makes sense. I mean,
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I think that's important to know.
Well,
this
and
type of stuff.
Here's the thing. GPA Analysis charges me $5.99 a month, and it's just on a recurring fee. So I'm paying $60 a year to find out that a book hasn't sold in 10 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And there's no any kind. I mean, I
They're
know
great.
There's a math geek out there in the world of comic books that could write them an algorithm that could extrapolate the 6/5/2025
Well, that's
sale.
we're the geeks that you have called upon, my friend.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly what we did.
But they haven't done that, and they've had the monopoly on this price guide world for
Yeah.
15, 20 years.
Yeah, they do a great job. I mean, they're
do a great
great
job.
at averages.
That's very nice. That's
You
very
know,
nice. of
Well,
you.
no, it is very nice. I want to bring that up
Yeah.
real quick. But I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, Nick, but that's one of the
No,
things
please.
the OG Keymaster puts in here. Put the app on your utility belt and move on. And that's kind of what it is. It's like all these things are tools.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah,
tools in your
absolutely,
collecting, and they
absolutely.
go in your tool belt. And you know there are other things out there. There's
There's great
GPA, there's
resources,
Cover
right.
Price, there's Key
Yeah.
Collector, there's Overstreet. All these things are tool belts.
Comic
It's
book
not
realm,
like you're
but it's not a.
it's not like you're out here saying, "Oh, fuck these guys." As a matter of fact, you're willing to. Are you? You know, it seems like you might be willing to work with some of these guys here and there, and look at it as like this is a tool in your tool belt. You know, we're not here to say we're better.
We
than
try to be
anybody.
as we try to give, the collector everything that they need to go into a store and to do what they do. And like you said, GPA, like what's the problem with finding this? To fill in these blanks. Well, that's exactly what we asked. And we go, okay, now we could fill in these blanks. So we get the same information that they get from, these different auction houses. And we have the definitive sales amounts that we populate into the different brackets. And then with our algorithm, we're able to say, okay, this, and this has got to be a logical, descending values from 9.8 down, or 9.
And let's face it, also the collectors don't do you any help by. I was looking up a book when I was posting some other stuff, and it was like, okay, so the 9.0 sold for $2,000 in June.
Yeah.
The 9.2 sold for $1,500 in July.
I know.
And you're like, there's no consistency to this.
There's only so much that you can do when it comes to that, and you do your best, and you create an algorithm, and you make adjustments. So far,
you throw out the West German judge, and then
right, exactly. You don't need them all, right?
So since you're partnered with eBay, are you also integrating the other companies other than CGC for graded pricing?
Yeah, we we collect as much data as we can. So CBCS, PSA.
Now
we haven't
PSA.
really.
I've broken 4 records in 2 weeks with PSA slabs.
Nice, congratulations. What are those?
So I
like
sold a Superman.
pricing?
I sold a Superman 680 for $209.6.
All right.
And Swaggle House included it in his video. I just sold Spider-Man 252 in 9.6 with white pages for $450, which is higher by $100 over the last CGC sale.
Awesome.
And oh god, what was the other one? I don't know. They all
What's your
blur
thoughts on the
together after a
PSA?
while.
Congratulations,
stuff, Nick?
sir.
What is your thoughts on the PSA entry into the grading comic book world?
I think that it's good to have competition. I think it's good that somebody comes in and makes the existing companies work harder and keep them in check. I know that I think it's hard to do. It's hard. You're going to get, the hard part is people who want to keep their slabs uniform. So when you're creating something like a new grading company and you come in with a different label, somebody's got 100 CGC books, and then you go, okay, well, why don't you use PSA? I don't know if I want any of my books to have a different label. If I'm using CBCS, if I'm using, CGC, PSA. So to come in, I think it's great. I think it's a hard road, and but they know what they're doing, I would assume, since they have experience in the collectible space. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Hey, so Overstreet, a lot of information, obsolete the day it comes out.
Yeah.
Can they is there any way that brand, forget about Diamond and all that stuff, can that brand be in this game?
It has an app. It's in the game.
They do have an app. I think that and actually it was really concerning because when I first heard that Overstreet was going to come out with an app, I'm like, oh no. But I don't really think that they
have no reason to go there every day.
Yeah, they don't. I don't really. Yeah, that
they have a lot more entries, especially in the golden age, and a lot of the independents, like really weird, out out there independents that aren't like what's in the regular zeitgeist.
Yeah, I haven't.
But
Yeah,
they
go
don't
ahead.
have the a lot of stuff that your app has. Right?
Yeah.
A reason to go there, the categories which
Right.
help
The
with
reason
collecting.
the app needs to be fun, right? It needs to be
Yeah,
something that you can
exactly.
go to, you want
1000%.
to enjoy, because that's what comics is. And I think that's where people miss the boat a lot with some of these digital resources, is that like it's like very stodgy, it's very stiff. Okay, here's your pricing, and it's like, don't you want to have fun? Like, have fun with this. Like, here's a bunch of other stuff. Oh, we got a randomizer, right? Oh, you could just, if you got nothing to do, you're on the bus, you could just hit the randomizer and have
You were
fun.
going to say toilet. You were
I
going
was
to
going
say
to say toilet because I have heard people say that, and again, right? Like, I've been on the toilet for a half hour.
Yeah,
well,
yes.
Stretch your legs, but it has to be fun. As far as Overstreet goes, I think there's a lot of things that
they're not
have
competition, really.
I mean, it's an era, right? There was an era that was strong. The Overstreet, we remember nostalgically, and I don't know if it is carried over into the era that we're in now. Almost like modern age. Like, when is the modern age over? As far as comic book ages, it's like sometimes things just don't move on into the next age. And Overstreet, I don't know if they're still doing it. I didn't even know if they're still updating.
It's still up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's still been updating.
Have they? Okay. I have not looked at it in a while, and I'm not saying anything bad about Overstreet.
So
I
I'm not
actually
saying
would like, I just talked to Chris Rupp the other day. I was like, I want to collect Overstreet price guides from the first one to today, like the 57th one. So that's like a new thing for me. I want to collect if you guys can help me out.
So they aren't printing them.
Thank you, sir.
I've had people ask me to get them the Overstreet guide just because they like it and they read it every year and all this stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, like a lot of the old time guys.
Look at the big difference here.
Yeah. Right. Good call.
This is not
Put
fit
that
in my back pocket, guys.
Right.
This
That's a good
is,
call.
I'm sorry.
No,
I know at some point.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, I
yeah.
just shared a picture with the group chat. Can you bring that up? So I got called out to a person who passed away and left a comic collection.
Yeah.
And this is the highlights of the collection.
Fuck you.
I didn't bring it up because I didn't want you angry at me,
Look at
Emmet.
that Lois Lane.
So they went out and they went to go buy an Overstreet guide because they had several old Overstreet guides, and they went to go buy it. And this was about a month or two ago. And they were told, hey, there's no 2025. So they bought a 2024. Then in that, they found out that there was the app. So they bought the app, and they did, I want to say it was like 800 comic books into the app. And then they guesstimated what the grades were. And, they were off and on and sometimes right on. And, so I came out to look at the collection. I sized it all up. My prices, obviously I had to show them things that were like, no, this is never going to get that grade because of this or that. But when it was all done, the Overstreet app was so far off.
Yeah.
And then I basically, because of that, I opened up GPA, I opened up Key Collector, I opened up eBay, and I gave them an aggregate of the 3 different places.
Yeah.
And that showed them a better picture. And there's no other place that kind of gives that better picture other than kind of your site.
Thank you.
But Dennis, I want to jump in, Nick, before you say that. How many retailers would have done that? That's very good on your end. So I just wanted to make that point. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, a lot of people will say just swear by Overstreet. I mean, it's been there forever, right? So it's like some people will just say what does Overstreet say, and like you said, there's
Nobody under 30.
Like what Brian, how we started the conversation was, people say, oh, this isn't updated or the price is wrong. It's whatever their preference is, what they feel is the correct resource as far as pricing goes.
Right.
Whether it's Overstreet, whether it's Key Collector, whether it's GPA, whether it's just looking at eBay sold, the very last sold issue, which could, by the way, be wrong. I mean, the very last sold issue, you can price your book at that for $20, and it might just be some anomaly, or it might be something where it's like, whoa, the last 5 sold for $100, but for some reason the last one sold for 20 because maybe it was a reprint and you didn't notice it. Whatever it might be. I mean, it could be.
Do you distinguish between a buy it now and an auction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important.
I mean, do we distinguish in the information that we give? No, we aggregate that together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No. We don't say this is a buy it now, this is an auction, because when it comes down to it, people want the information that's quick. They want something that they can make a decision on, usually in a moment. More information isn't always the best idea. If they want more information, they usually go and they look for more information. But to give a snapshot of, okay, here's 10 sales of this book, here's 20 sales of this book, here's the average. A lot of times that's good enough, if you want to go deeper into it, which I suggest you do, if you have something that's like, a $50,000 book or something like that, you really want to go into some, serious research about how to grade your book. Get really drilled down to what sort of condition your book is in, and then try and figure out a range of sales, or what to sell it for, or what to buy it for. I mean, there's, you look at certain collectibles with a greater responsibility of what you need to do in terms of research. It's like buying a car. I mean, sometimes those books are that expensive. Yeah. So, we give an idea. We're a resource that I wanted to call it price guidance, but then people were reaching out to me and they were like, it's price guide, right? I'm like, I know, but I want to call it price guidance because I don't want to say to you, this is a price guide. This is exactly what it should be. This is what the values are. I want this to be guidance to help to make a decision, but I don't want to tell you like, this is exactly what you should pay for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that didn't go over too well.
I like that name. I think it's kind of funny.
Thank you. I thought I liked it too, but
we had a super chat earlier that I want to bring up. Matrix Comics brought up a super chat that he says, "Yo Nick, is there a blog or long form editorial section coming?" And I want to also add on to that, where Three Rivers brought up a comment that asked, about a comment that said, "I buy Overstreet to read the dealer yearly reviews."
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's part of the reason why I want to collect all those. No, I would love that. Look, we have a blog that we just haven't really launched because we haven't really found people that could help us out with it. So,
I think
maybe just launch a Discord
dude,
server.
I mean,
these retailers,
So this is a great topic to bring up because that's what my developer says. Discord server. When I say content is king, and I'm like, 10 to 12 hours a day, nose in the comic book, data, and looking at what's going on eBay, looking at what's going on Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff. And then my developer says, "Hey, why don't we do a Discord?" I go, "Where the hell do you think? I have no idea how to even,
Right.
So if anybody reach out to me, Nick at keycollectorcomics.com, if you're interested in helping us out with that, because I would absolutely love to do what these suggestions are. I just don't have the bandwidth, I guess, is what they say in the tech world. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. So please reach out. Yeah.
There was a great in the Overstreet advisor had written 2 years before Marvel and DC left Diamond, saying they would leave Diamond. You might want to have that guy write some stuff for you.
Who is it? What was it? Say it again.
I don't know.
They predicted it?
Yeah.
Are you saying
guy with wears a lot of spam hats?
Oh, is it by any chance Jesse James? Yeah.
Nick,
hell
I wanted to ask you a timeline, and I'm hoping you can kind of give me a definitive timeline in the day of like Nick.
Oh my God.
So Robert Downey Jr. posts a tweet or a Instagram post of a comic book sitting in the background, West Coast Adventures 35.
Yeah.
how long between that Instagram post and you guys putting it on the list was there?
I mean, I think that, well, first we put it in, we had an alert that it was there. So right when it happened, we put it out there that he did that.
It was within an hour though, right?
No, it was less than that. It was within, I have this whole system dialed in, like, to a very, where we can react like that. So it was definitely within an hour. I think it was within, 10 or 15 minutes. Hey, Robert Downey Jr. put this picture up, and that's something that, as part of the subscription, because if you go and you see us put it up, and then you go on eBay and you pay $5 for it, and then an hour later it's $40.
Well, I'm getting to a point. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, right away.
So if you had a subscription and within 15 minutes of Robert Downey Jr. posting that, and you got an alert on your phone, you literally could make the annual subscription price to Key Collector with one book in 15 minutes.
That's kind of the argument that we make, for this.
Well, I'm making that argument for you. So
I appreciate it. No, absolutely.
Say it.
No, I appreciate. Yeah, exactly. That's.
And I immediately told the girl that works for me, hey, go over to the Avengers wall and flip through the $2 and $5 Avenger books and see if you find this book. And sure enough, I had one of them sitting in my $5 3 for 10 section.
Awesome.
How many you got in your warehouse?
I couldn't even count that high.
You got a warehouse? Do you have a warehouse?
Dennis has a warehouse.
Does he?
He has a movie theater that's a warehouse.
I have a movie theater that I converted all 3 of the theaters into warehouses.
Are you serious? Do you have the pictures of that online? Because I would love to see that.
12,500 square feet.
You're close enough to go check it out, Nick. You gotta make.
That's
a trek
amazing.
One of those days.
You're in. That's right. You're in Michigan.
Yeah.
Where
are you at?
I'm in Naperville, right in.
Illinois. Dude, we're like 3 hours away from each other.
Are you
3.5
serious?
hours. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to come by and check. Why don't you pull those old Overstreets out? Pull out those old Overstreets, and I'll come and I'll pick them up from you.
There we go.
I have a near complete collection of Overstreet.
I'm being dead serious.
Number one,
including both.
Number one's going to be hard to come by. Yeah. But they do have a facsimile
of one though. I have the
that's all I need. I don't need the real deal.
Yeah. I know you got all this going on, but when you get into the real comic book world and you're not really paying attention to your app, which is probably very rare, are you following the Diamond bankruptcy at all?
Just honestly, you guys are like my source. I mean, so when I look forward to hearing you guys talk about it all the time.
You were one of the first people we had on to talk about it when it first hit. You were one of the first people.
So.
I think so.
Was I?
I want to think so. Yeah, I think you just happened to be on like when the news started bubbling. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's an era, right? It's an era that comes and they all come and go and will come and go. I mean, sadly, it's a part of something that was great, and then it disintegrates through time because you lose sight on what's important. And I think that that's the type of thing that I don't know where it's at right now. I mean, I know that there's a lot of money that is tied up, a lot of publisher money that's tied up. It seems like there's something every other day that gets sprinkled on to the whole conversation, but I'm really not sure because I haven't watched your show from the beginning today. I'm sure you guys talked about it, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Could that warehouse, when it does release all that product and flood the market, could that be an issue coming up in the future you foresee?
I mean, I don't, there's always going to be there's going to be a tipping point, right? I mean, how many people want this? We know that I think that we've definitely seen, especially 2021, 2022, we've seen demand exceed supply, and then it seemed a little inflated, and then it seemed like supply exceeded demand. So I think once that happens, I think that there are some books. Obviously, it's not going to be Bronze Age. It's not going to be Copper Age.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to be variants. It's going to be a lot of those. So, but I don't know if people are even at this point in the game of collecting looking at variants or exclusives as much as something that they're going to be able to invest in and be disappointed by that. So, the safe bet is always back issues, copper. Yeah, I always stand by cover A. Always. Variants, it's just so yeah. Once those get out there, I don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference because I don't think that's making much of a difference now. I think that there is that special variant, ratio variant that comes along every once in a while that becomes a high end key issue, but it's gotten to the point where it's few and far between.
Now, Nick, I have a question before we get to Alex's super chat.
Yes, sir.
Based on that, do you have a way of combing the data from your end of the site and seeing what the #1 searched for comic book is for value so that you could start looking and making a list of these desirable books that your customers. Like if New Mutants 98 is searched 1,000 times in one weekend.
Yeah.
And, Spider-Man 300 is searched 750 times during a convention or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That seems like data that you have the keys to the kingdom on.
We do. And we're actually, we're going to introduce something soon enough that's going to, I can't really discuss that, but we're going to introduce something that I think people will really enjoy and find exciting and interesting and unique and very much helpful to building their collections and not really suffering a whole lot of unnecessary spend on, let's say, like, any premiums for using buying and selling platforms. But I pretty much said exactly what it was.
Alex
one way or another.
Alex dropped a $10 super chat. He says, I jumped in late. What got Nick into comic books? If discussed, I'll rewind. If not, please discuss.
It's 1989 Batman movie. Right when I saw the preview of the Batman movie, I didn't even need to see the movie yet. I was like, hell yeah.
Same
this
with me,
is
dude.
something about it. And then ever since then, it was like, go to the, comic book store. I remember there was a comic book store here in Illinois. And it was like you could get like 12 comics for $1, and I had all of the
Naperville.
Batman.
How close to?
It wasn't in Naperville. It was in Glenview, actually. And I forgot what it was called.
Do you remember Moondoggies back in the day?
Oh hell yeah! Yes, I used to go to.
Oh my
all
god!
The time.
Moondoggies was one of the best stores in Chicago.
They had one in Ranhurst, and then they had one in Moondoggies.
I think they had 3 or 4 locations.
I think it was called Moondogs. I think it was called Moondogs. Yeah. That place was awesome.
Oh, I love that store.
The general manager's name was Sean. I still remember it because we went in every single week.
I have a picture of Sean's penis somewhere from my convention pile.
Jesus, I don't know if you want to mention that, bro. What are you talking about?
Took my disposable camera at Wizard World Chicago.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Put it down his pants and snapped it. I had no idea until I developed it.
Oh, so you went in the Walgreens, people saw it.
As a 10-year-old, I couldn't verify if it is or it isn't.
Right. Yeah. Nick started this off with the gay.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
At the beginning, and we're right back into penises.
Full
Nick,
circle,
we've had multiple artists.
That's hilarious.
Jump in the chat tonight. I saw Shikari in here earlier, and one of our good friends of this channel is Mark Spears, who does the Monsters books. And
man, I love it. I send his stuff to my buddy in Arizona, who's funny enough, he's friends with Brian Polito, but I'm like, dude, look at this. This is right up your alley.
What is your thoughts on the whole Mark Spears Monsters phenomenon? I
think it's great. I think it's great for comics. I think it brings in a lot of excitement. I love the, I love the synergy between the Universal monsters and then just the awesome art behind it. I think it's great. I think it's cool that he's branching off and doing some other stuff. I'm a little concerned about where these blind bags are going to bring us. I'm not sure if that's something that is going to be a step in like this into territory where things get out of control. You know, I mean, I do have concerns about the whole blind bag thing because it seems to be something that's escalating. And
it is the future, man.
Once it becomes something that looks more, you know, of a lucrative thing as opposed to something fun and unique and different. And I'm not saying that anybody's doing this just, you know, to make a buck on it, but anytime that it becomes something that's, you know, more about floods the market with this stuff, then it just becomes, then it loses its value.
And Dennis will go hyperbole like I did last time. It feels like an Oppenheimer moment where, yes, you're doing this so that you can get a great explosion, but what hath you wrought after the end of it?
Yeah, I mean, Halloween is once a year and everybody gets excited about it, right? You know, right. I mean, if it was 30 times a year, then people wouldn't be into it.
It'd be too much. Right. And here's the thing about Mark that I think that is he's different than most other creators that I've talked to, is that I think he knows that. I think he's one of the guys that has his finger on the pulse where
he's got a great product. And I think that supersedes anything. If you have a great product, then it's, you know, you can do things like that. You can do things, and you could do things like that sparingly. You can make it exciting. You could, because you got a great product. So as long as it stays in that realm, you know, I think that
right?
Yes.
It's like
man.
Your service, if you've got the best food, you can have shit service.
Right.
Because they'll always come back for that.
You are absolutely right, man. As long as you know that the heart is in the product, you know, then there's not a lot that can go wrong as long as somebody's heart stays in the product. So
did you do so I don't know if I understood or not. Did you do an exclusive for Key Collector?
We did an exclusive, our first exclusive, which I'm very proud of.
I like this.
Dinesh came to me. He said, "Hey, I want to promote Cul-de-sac." And you know, we don't do ads. We don't promote anything. You know, I mean, you know, people say, "Oh, Key Collector's trying to make money off it." There's nothing that we make money off of except our subscription, and the reason why we make money, and you know, eBay commission. So, you know, getting behind something, I do it. Dinesh is a friend. He's always been very supportive. He's a good dude. He does fun things. Like, what I love about Bad Idea is that they're doing stuff that's fun. Like, you know, and people, they like to, there's a lot of, I know you guys can't stand them. All right, Dennis.
Whoa.
Dennis.
Not you guys.
All right, Dennis,
rephrase that a little.
I like what Bad Idea does in terms of doing something unique, doing something interesting.
Fun.
I think that the books that they put out are what people want. They're not trying to, you know, send a message. They're not trying to, they're doing something that is high quality and, you know, is meant to entertain. So when he came to me and he said, "Hey, we want to promote it," I said, "Well, you're doing that stake through the CGC thing." I said, we should do, like, how did that happen?
Genius.
How did the stake get into the CGC thing? I will do an exclusive if you have a team write a book about how that happened.
I love
it. And
it.
of course, you know, and when he sent me all this stuff, I'm like, this exceeded.
I mean, whoever his artist is lifted a piece of art. If you go back about 3 or 4 pages.
Oh, is that right?
Which one? Go back
there.
Right there. That's Volton, Prince Volton from Flash Gordon. every bit of it.
I love the fact that at least, and so here's what I love about this. And Dennis, I think that you can step out of this a little bit and say that this is something that's good, and that you made a new comic book. I mean, this was a whole new comic book created to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good thing.
That's what I thought was exciting.
Yes. It's not like he just took the guts of Cul-de-sac #1 and put a new cover on it.
No.
There's a whole new thing involved in this that I think that is the good thing. And by the way,
and it's funny, you know?
Yeah. If I want to own this page, Dinesh, you probably already own this page, but I want to own this page right here. Like, you know, making fun of himself right here, which is great.
I could sell it. Like, basically everything that Dennis says about Dinesh is
he's making fun of himself.
Perfectly encapsulated right there.
Yes.
But Dennis, you know, Dinesh is a good dude. He is he's very generous. You know, he is, you know, he really loves that. He really loves comics. Like he really doesn't need to do this, you know, but he loves comics, and I like working with people who I know love the industry, love putting out good stories. And I thought it was I like the idea. He liked the idea. I thought it was cool. You know, we're not making money on it. You know, it's just something that we're giving away. It's a giveaway. So everybody was like, oh, it's like Wizard when, you know, Wizard started doing their own exclusives. It's like, I'm never going to sell our own exclusive. I'll never sell an exclusive. It's a gift.
Where are we giving it away?
Oh, you just, thank you, Emmet. You're a good guy. You go on the app, you go on Key Collector, free app. You don't have to be a subscriber to enter. You just go, you click one button. You could read the story if you don't want to, you know, engage, and if you don't want to, you know, I mean that's the coolest part about it, is that we could put it up, the whole story up there, and people can read it, and it's just a little fun like promotion, you know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you bringing it up.
And when does it end?
We're within the next 2 weeks. I think we'll probably announce it. You know what? Probably right around when Cul-de-sac 2 comes out, just to help them with a little bit of promotion on the second issue. We'll probably do the announcement then.
Yeah, there is a little thing in here that says our first exclusive on the webpage, and you guys can go there and find out more. Let me go ahead and drop the link in the chat.
I forgot. I was gonna say, man,
exclusive should be used for.
Yeah.
Promotion.
Well, when you call it exclusive, right? I mean,
but not like I'm selling it for $40.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, or you had to, we just look. I never want anybody to look at what Key Collector is doing and say like, oh, they're just trying to like rake people over the coals. Yeah. That's a nightmare. I mean, that's why we don't have any ads. That's why you don't have to, you don't have to subscribe to catalog your whole collection. We're not going to hold your collection ransom, like that's, the hobby is meant to be fun. And I think that if you keep a sense of integrity about it, then I think that, everybody is just not going to get burned out by it, because there are a lot of people that got burnt out by this hobby during 2021, 2022.
Sure.
Sadly, hopefully they come back.
So, AI in the comic book world, not a good discussion.
Yeah.
How is AI good for a Key Collector or isn't good for Key Collector?
I think it helps my developer. I think that there's a certain amount of programming that he does. To be honest with you, I really don't understand it. I mean, I got to tell you, I own an app. I'm not a tech guy. Like I really don't. I came from the liquor industry. I don't really understand a whole lot about technology. I thought at this point that I would be like, oh yeah, wow, this will be a great opportunity for me to really understand tech. I don't, because I don't really care about tech, right? So I stick with the content. I don't really use anything with AI at all. I don't, but I think as far as development goes, I think we'll be able to develop quicker. I think maybe we'll be able to get better design quality out of using some AI elements, just because we're a small team. We're a small team, and I think that there's opportunity there. But generally speaking, like when we're talking about blog stuff, I don't ever want to go into the AI space. I would love if somebody from the audience reaches out and knows how to do stuff like Discord and blogs and then go down that road. But we're not going to produce any content that is AI driven. That's for damn sure.
Any covers on Key Collector AI?
I mean, I don't think that I am the gatekeeper of what should and should not be out there as in terms of information and resource. Like if people produce AI covers, I'm not going to say, well, we're not going to do that, because some people want that or don't mind that. And I don't think that we are, I think that the community speaks when it's something along those lines. I don't think that the community is going to really be attracted to AI art. I can't imagine. Like this hobby is a unique hobby in terms of it lasting for almost 100 years now. It being something where stories and art work together to tell the complete story. I mean, there's in that these characters have endured on a timeline that has gone on for decades. So I think that introducing AI into something like this is it's just not going to resonate. So if a majority of the industry goes in that direction, I think that you'll see even more of the people who collect move away from what's newly created and stick with back issues. I mean, Jesse, you guys, you guys don't even carry new comics. You just work on. Well, you do, yeah. But Jesse and Dennis just sell back issues. Who would have thought 15 years ago maybe that would be something that would be able to keep your business in the what? Who Jesse did?
Guy.
Yeah,
That guy.
very first person
Jesse.
to drop Diamond and
his burnt bridge lit my way.
Good for you, man.
People wouldn't sell to me for a year, man. But it was well worth it. I think at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for your brand, what's even better for your community and your customer base. And at the end of the day, if you can give them value on top of value, reading value and value, then that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Very interesting because you are in that tech world and it changes every day. So do you have to decide? I know your tech guy does this, but does he only look to advanced tech when it's advantage to the page itself?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. What was the question?
So do you need all the bells and whistles and new tech, or are you happy kind of where you're at now? So
No. I mean, I think that, as far as new tech goes, am I happy with where we're at? No, I always want to build out more features that make the hobby better, that make engaging in the hobby better. Like there's definitely things that can be done as far as collecting goes that makes it easier, finding what you want, trading, finding what you want for less, being able to sell something that is more profitable because you're not dealing with different high rates. And I mean, there's so many different ways that this hobby could be worked out better. I mean,
is there anything that has really
knowledge is power, right? So the more knowledge that you can give people to make a decision, the better.
Well, and that's why I love your site, because one of my rules is give your knowledge and experience freely, and you have a free option on your site.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll always be like that.
I love to see people using your app in my store, going through my back bins.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know. There's a lot of stores that get mad that have
sales.
I just don't get it.
I remember first talking to Nick, and Nick was telling about all these stores across the nation that he would walk up or he'd get a call from or email from. And now it's pretty well acceptable. I mean, now we literally have our customers walk up and say, "Hey, do you have this book on Key Collector?" Versus
Dude,
kind
you
of
want to hear something crazy?
In the early days, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you something crazy. When I first started Key Collector, I was like rabidly hungry. I was reaching out to the New York Times. Hey, I got this app, and they eventually wrote about. I was reaching out to all these. There was a news crew outside of my apartment when I lived in Milwaukee, and I went down and I went up to the guy and I'm like, "Hey, man, I know you're doing a news report here, but I have this app. Is there a way that maybe somehow you can?" And followed up with the guy, really nice guy. He eventually was like, "You know what? Yeah, we're going to do a segment on you for our." So I went to a comic store in Milwaukee. I'm not going to say which one it is, but I told the guy, "Hey, look, they're going to bring a news crew, all this, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Yeah, have him come by." I'm like, "Okay, it's going to be 10 a.m. We get there. Nobody was there. He didn't come. He didn't go there. I had the whole news crew there at the store.
What an idiot.
Yeah, I know.
Free
This guy's
publicity.
getting pissed.
I love it, Nick. I love it. We love
it. Hey, Nick, if you stick around for after the show, I got to tell you my Milwaukee story.
Oh, yeah. All right, great. Yeah. But eventually what we did is we went to there's a place in Milwaukee called Half Price Books.
Yeah.
That has an awesome comic book selection. I called him up. He was a friend of mine because he had a warehouse, like Dennis. He had a warehouse, and that's where I actually got the idea for Key Collector. Was being in this guy's warehouse and being like, I have no idea what half the stuff is, and I said, hey, can I bring this news crew by? And he's like, yeah, I'll be right there. I'll open up the warehouse for you. And we actually got the segment done. It was great.
That's awesome. That's great.
So yeah, things work out.
The last question I want to ask you before we call it a night, is there anything that recently that you've seen that really excites you in the world of comics that has gone, well, I'm really liking what's going on here?
I mean, I like that it seems like we're kind of getting back to like the story aspect of comic books. I feel like for a long time it was really cover. Things got really out of control. I mean, I think it's cool that there's like segments of covers, right? You have your I like the original art. I should throw that in too. I like that original art's getting bigger. I like that there's a lot more story-driven stuff that's going on, and I like that the cover stuff is actually segmented to like people that are doing something different, like Shabina, right? You guys have Sveta.
Yeah.
You have Mark Spears. You have some of these other artists that are sort of cornering that aspect of the market, and it's more of like, okay, not everything has to be flooded with exclusives. People are starting to pare down back to what comic books should be, which is, art and story. Like covers are part of it, right? Covers are great. Does there need to be 30 of them? I don't know, but I would say no.
Yeah.
But I think that it's exciting that it's getting back to that. I think that it's exciting that comic books are more approachable. Like prices have come down on a lot of the stuff. People, I think, are wiser to what was going on in 21 and 22. And so like you can get a key issue for $10. You could find a key issue in a bargain bin. You can negotiate for something that's a key issue. And I think that that's a lot, it's a lot more approachable now than it was then. And I think it's moving even more into that realm. I think that there's a lot less toxicity in the collector space. I feel like people are getting along better, It seems like that to me. It seems like people are going to conventions, and it's not like some stupid thing happened because some bad seller was there and sort of took advantage of a lot.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot less people that are being taken advantage of, and I think that people are a lot quicker to call out people that when they're trying to take advantage of somebody in the communities rallying around that. So that's exciting. Yeah,
I can't agree more. Yeah. I see things like the Energon universe, Ghost Machine, Mark
I like
Spears
that stuff.
Monsters.
Energon, I like the absolute stuff that's going on. I think that I like the grittiness of some of the stuff going on. There's some good stories out there. I was liking Dan Panosian's Last Boy was a pretty good read. I love his art. What else? I don't know. It's all flooding right now. It's hard to be specific, but there's a lot of good stories that are being told right now.
Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. So, all right, you guys, we are 2 hours 48 minutes into the show, right? Yep. So, I want to say thank you to everybody that hung out with us tonight.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't boring. My gosh,
Jesse, what do you have there, brother?
Well, no, I'll wait for you to say new stuff. I don't want to interrupt your line there.
No.
Okay, ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're very famous for being one of the biggest sock sellers in the world.
What?
By far. I think we're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually in the world.
Hey, Nick, can we go back to talking about bad ideas?
Wow, Dennis.
But we are now getting in the cookbook business. So we now are carrying the Rick and Morty official cookbook.
Oh, that's cool.
So that is coming in. So we just picked up a whole bunch of those. I don't know anything about cards, but I thought it was cool that I got 10 Marvel 1991 Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm not quite sure who this company is.
Impel?
EMC?
No, that's Impel.
Impel. No, it is Impel. Yep. And then I picked up this cool CGC, but then I realized go ahead. I realized they wrote the top part wrong, so I think I have to send it back in. But I picked up that. Very nice, by Amanda Connor, the cover artist as well. So that's my 3 pickups for this week. So
all right, Dennis and Emmett, you guys got any pickups?
And one more
I showed
thing.
you my best pickup.
Yeah,
Okay.
and one more thing, we do need to get socks on Key Collector at some point in the future.
Okay, socks, no problem. We'll do a category. Socks.
Yeah.
Emmett?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of like bread and butter stuff. Nothing exciting.
Yeah, Emmett's like phasing out, like Back to the Future. Oh my gosh, what's going on there?
If I get
I love it.
Whoa!
Yo, there you go. Yeah, I think we
So-
should grade his chair though.
Yeah.
Chair needs grading.
We're gonna we'll be back tomorrow night. You guys come hang out with us tomorrow on the Wednesday night review, and then Thursday night we'll be back on Whatnot. Sunday night on eBay Live, Monday night on eBay Live. We'll see you guys there. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, go check out Key Collector app. You guys will love it if you guys aren't already checking out. But I imagine most of you guys are already signed up over there. And
Thank you,
delve
everybody,
into
for
the
that, too,
subscription
you know.
stuff, you guys. It's a lot of fun. So the link is in the chat for the sign up for the new exclusive over there. Go check that out. And Nick, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. We love every time you come on, and we can't thank you enough, dude.
Congratulations on what you guys have been doing. It's awesome. I love it. It's great.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
We're
keep it
trying.
up, man. Thank you so much.
All right,
And thank
you guys,
you
stick
everybody
around.
for supporting us out there.
Stick around for a sec, Nick. We're gonna
Okay,
run through
no
this
problem.
outro. We'll see you guys in a
All
bit.
right, thank you.
Adios.